right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on into our 15th season. Also, just to let everybody know, at the end of this year's NFL season, 16 years up on air, right here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, doing it each and every week during the football seasons. We sporadically go at different times, sometimes don't go in the off season, but just depending on what's going on. Today, it is all about the AFC and NFC North, or AFC East and NFC North previews today. And of course, we didn't have him last week. He didn't bless us with his presence, but it is, good to have him back. And here he is. Let's bring him on in. I sometimes don't know if this is a good thing, bad thing, indifferent. Well, we'll do it anyway. It is the one, the only. It is the Podfather. Good morning, Podfather. How you doing? Oh, but don't go anywhere, Podfather, because you're a little but because I've got the one, the only Dollar Bill is also here. Now, I don't know. Did do you put two L's on that? Oh, I got to take that off.
I actually do, Sonny. I actually do put two L's in the
All right. Then I will make the change and make it right now. I got to get this thing off of here. Bang! There we go. All right. Good to see you. Dollar Bill, I'd like to introduce you to. This is the Podfather. Yes. Yeah. We're not worthy. And, and by the way, did you see? So I'm going to shoot it over to Trey. Trey, did you see your trophy?
Yes, I did.
What do you think of the trophy? It is nice.
It is nice. And
yeah.
The best thing is next year when you put in the order for the thing next year, all you have to do is change the year.
Yeah, just change the year. Is that it? No, but it is nice. And while we're doing this, I'll upload a picture of it. It's magnificent. It's I decided since the Podfather, and I got to give him credit because he's been giving me hell about it, but at least he's been patient about getting his trophy, and I appreciate that because our normal person that does the trophies is just not feeling good, so I just went around and zipped it and got my trophy guy going. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We are on the AFC and the NFC East program. Hold on. There we go. The NFC previews. But before we get to that, and I'm just going to shoot this over to Dollar Bill. We got a total of 8 divisions of football.
Yes.
So the question is, I'll put it up on the screen. Who's going to go worst to first? Because last year we saw the Texans go ahead and do it. They went from worst. They finished out. Well, if my Jaguars could win a damn football game, but that's a whole different story up on top of it. But here's the list of worst to first, and I see when I look at it, I see a possibility of 2, maybe 3 that could go first or worst to first. When you take a look at this list, Dollar Bill, what do you see?
To be honest, Sonny, I'm realistically only seeing about one team, and that would probably be the Chicago Bears.
So no love for New England. I don't blame you. Arizona, no love for them. I get it. I come back. Washington, what a horrible, but I still don't think they'll get it. Carolina Panthers got a little bit of work to do as far as chemistry. The Tennessee Titans are who they are. The top 3, though, that I was looking at, I think Cincinnati could come up on top. That's if Joe Burrow decides that he's going to show up all year long and get Jamar Chase happy by giving him $40 million, which he ain't gonna get, but they're gonna try to get it to him anyway. And maybe the Chargers. And I say maybe because this is a football team that cannot seem to decide if they're going to be good. Not if, if they're going to be good, is when they're going to be good. So that being said, give me the mix up on why you don't think that the Bengals will make it from worst to first.
Well, I mean, like we were discussing last week, the Bengals are in probably one of the toughest divisions in all of football. They've got
Absolutely.
the best record in the league last season, the Baltimore Ravens, to deal with. They've got Pittsburgh's defense that they have to deal with, although they do have questions on offense still, but their defense is what they are, and we know what they are every single year. And then, not to mention, the Cleveland Browns defense. They were top 5 in every category last season, and they're practically bringing back all their starters. And Myles Garrett is a monster beast on that defensive line. So, for those many reasons, what are we going to get from the Bengals? Joe Burrow's coming back from all those injuries that he had last season. Jamar Chase is in the air. T. Higgins is in the air. They don't have Joe Mixon. So, with all those questions surrounding the Bengals, I probably would not have them winning the division this year or doing that worst to first.
Gotcha. And Trey, I don't know if you've seen it, the worst, the first placard, because he is driving, by the way. Ian, out of those teams that we are talking about, what do you think about it if you heard them? Who goes worst to first, in your opinion?
None of them.
None of them.
None of them, because, look, first of all, and I heard Dollar Bill's answer for the Bears. You do realize the Bears play in the toughest NFC division there is. And you're talking the Packers, who kind of lit the world on fire a little bit last year. Then, of course, you got the Lions, who really dominated the league last year until the playoff. I mean, you got those two heavyweights right there against a rookie quarterback, which I'm not putting any shame on the rookie quarterback, but he looks good in the preseason because it's preseason, because he ain't playing against number one team defenses. So I'm not quite buying into the Bears just yet. I think that they won't finish last. I mean, they might go from worst to third, which isn't bad considering where they were at last year.
Yes.
But, the Bengals got their problems. They're going to have their problems this year. But and by the way, the Chargers, you understand this. They've had how many offensive coordinators in 5 years?
Many.
Yeah, so you want their quarterback, Justin Herbert, to really get a grasp of an offense and take control of this team when he's not sure who's coaching this team from 1 year to the next. So I was one of the people on this show last year to say don't buy into Justin Herbert, don't buy into Josh Allen just yet.
You did. I give you that credit
because they ain't done nothing. And I can say that from being a fan of a team that's got a quarterback that still hasn't done a whole lot either. So, we lost
yes.
Bill. That sucks.
I think you're right to a certain extent. And you know how I feel about rookie quarterbacks. I don't like them, and I don't know if I'm going to buy the hype on Caleb Williams. That's one of the things that I've got to, we're going to look at the NFC North, when we start talking about it.
I know you're going to try not to buy into the hype until there's actually hype to be bought,
Yeah.
I mean, it took you a while to come around on C.J. Stroud, but that's only because it's Houston.
Yeah, excuse after excuse after excuse in reality. So I don't know. Interestingly enough, I'm getting the message out to Cuervo that he's late, of course, and always fashionably late. Dollar Bill's checked out for just a second, but there he is. We got Dollar Bill back. We'll go ahead and bring him on in, and so. And the reason why I did the worst to first is because we're going to talk about the Bears a little bit later when we get Cuervo on, when he decides to be done being fashionably late, and get him squared away. So that being said, of course, go ahead.
He's getting geared up right now because I can't wait for this over the top spill about how the Bears are going to dominate the entire NFC this year.
Yeah.
Same way he did last year, which. It's amazing because they went from that to the first pick in the draft. But don't worry about that. I mean,
Well, let's just say Cuervo, unfortunately, as the resident Bears fan, has taken a lot of garbage. Okay, but he's been taking a lot of garbage because they do a lot of garbage things there in Chicago, like think that Justin Fields, a guy that's just going to run the football instead of pass it all the time, or at least get the opportunity to pass it, which is one of the problems. The running quarterback is a tough thing in this league. And listen, I've been taking beatings about that opinion for the last 5 years. But you want to know something about that opinion? It's right. That opinion is not right. Now, I'm not saying that running quarterbacks cannot make a difference. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you want the most success, you want that drop back quarterback. You want the guy that can stay in the pocket. You want the guy to find the open receiver. You want the guy to only run, but when he runs, now Caleb Williams runs with his head up and not at the hole, and that makes a big difference, more so than Justin Fields. I mean, he made a living in reality on running the football, getting 100 to 120 yards a game. By the way, from the quarterback position, you're not going to win football games with that. Why? Because guess what? Most teams know that's what you're doing, and they're just going to let you do it. And then when they stop you and you got to punt anyway, it's just the way it ends up happening. So you need that guy that can be the stability of your team. Go ahead, Trey.
Bill, do you have a team?
See, Trey, you missed my whole spiel last week. I am technically a free agent right now, but I'm always going to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I just cannot root for them right now until we get rid of Dak Prescott. But until that happens, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, though. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, it's going to depend if Jerry lets this year ride out and see and wait till Dak gets free agency. We'll never see what happens. I mean, I can't imagine spending $60 million on the quarterback who can't win a playoff game. So
exactly. And from what we saw from Trey Lance yesterday, and him throwing 5 interceptions in a preseason game, that's going to be there for a whole lot longer.
By the way, that was an ugly football game, by the way, because I saw the highlights and, okay, the lowlights. I saw the lowlights of that game, and it was sad enough that I was, taking my time to watch it, but I just wanted to be able to sit there and go, what is going on? Trey Lance, listen, Trey Lance is a trade bait quarterback, but whether or not he will be able to step up, because let's be honest, we only saw him in one game when he was in San Francisco before he went down as far as the injury is concerned. So we don't even know his ball game now. And so that's why I'm not going to say Trey Lance sucks. I'm really good at it. Ask Trey. I'll say a quarterback sucks in a minute. The problem is when you don't get an opportunity to really see him, you can't say that. However, he's going to suck the first time he gets in there for a long period of time. However, the difference in that is this guy's been backing up for years and years now. So he gets the opportunity to see what's going on, and with the opportunity in the preseasons and stuff to get a little bit of the speed. The speed in the preseason is at 65% at best. That other 35% is hot and heavy, coming at you with a lot of speed, especially at the quarterbacks. Never mind, you have defensive ends and defensive players who just want to eat you for lunch. So, and then they just get faster. You start seeing that speed at week number 4. That's what you're going to see for the rest of the year. So you get an opportunity for the first 3 games to get it underneath your feet to get ready for what's going to be ready for you for the rest of the year. So Trey Lance, I've always thought that was a good pickup based upon Dak and what he does, but they're always going to be listening for offers for that guy.
I didn't see the point of giving up a draft choice for him.
Well, since when do the Dallas Cowboys make any sense whenever they're doing anything? Look what they did this offseason. So them doing that this last offseason, that's just part for the course.
Listen, they went out and they got the greatest running back of all time. I mean, I can't say that with a straight face, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, 3 yards to carry right there.
Absolutely.
First of all, for dollar bill, to state my position, I'm also a Dallas Cowboy fan, albeit a realist, because I don't sit there and think they're going to win the Super Bowl anytime soon. So I'm with you in the idea that the cool thing about doing picks every week is that it ain't so much following your team; it's following your picks. And when you do that, then like you said, being a free agent is a lot better than actually being a homer, because having to pick against your team is one of the hardest things to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the hardest things, but sometimes it's the most realistic thing you can do.
Yep.
Keeping it real.
Got to keep it real. That's what I try to do. And everybody jumps on me too, but because I keep it real about my Jaguars, everybody just thinks I'm bashing them. Well, I got news for you. When you're bad, you get bashed, at least from me. And that Jaguars have not been able to put it together and be cohesive, have any kind of chemistry. Now, the game, this last preseason, they blanked out. I forgot who they were playing. It was. Yeah, exactly. And they blanked them out. But I don't care about this preseason when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars and my team. What I care about what they're going to be doing. Not even, I want to see what they do from 9 to 18. Week 9 to 18 is what I want to see my football team do. And if you're any kind of football fan, that's what you want, because guess what? November, December, and even January, those are the times where your team has to show up week in and week out if you're going to be a contender. And we see a lot of our teams, the teams that we got here. The Cowboys suck at it. The Jaguars suck at it. The Browns just suck. The Steelers can't get anything going on to anything. And, of course, the Chicago Bears are who they are. And if you want to, by the way, Z looks pretty good in his uniform. I don't know if you see it. Z and his Saints, just horrible. Horrible football teams that we root for, but you have to be critical of them, because if you're not, you're just, what they call it in the wrestling business, they call it a mark. You're a mark for your football team there, Trey. Hey, yeah. So no, that's what I'm saying. If you're too much of a fan, you're a mark.
But they're everywhere. I mean, hell, you think Philadelphia Eagles aren't marks for their team? I mean, they take that to the utmost extremes. So
that's true too.
I mean,
so
in their mind, they're living the Rocky lifestyle. Everybody's going to go fight for everything. So, but you know what? The Eagles. This could be the Eagles' year though for the East. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we're going to talk about that. That's going to be the one and only division that we're going to talk about next week. It's going to be the NFC East, and I got so much for the NFC East this year that's going to be coming out. Who's going to be good, who's not going to be good, and I'm really looking forward to next week as far as what we're going to do. And I think the NFC East is going to be one of those divisions of football, Trey, that it's going to be a tough thing to do, to answer for anyway. If the Cowboys can do it, can the Eagles do? Listen, I think the Eagles are a very interesting team this next year, this upcoming year. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So and we're going to do that next week here on the Couch Potato Sports Show and get that all squared away. So I'm looking forward to next week. But this week we are here, so we might as well get started. Let me check the. Yep. All right. So. I'm going to go ahead and let me hit delete, and then I'm going to throw it up because if anybody, Dala, if you want to get involved with it, we're doing our pick 'em. You got to do it for the whole year. Wait. And so come out, because this is what you're going to be playing for from next season. By the way, it's awful pretty. Now
Okay.
that is. That is it, it's a metal trophy, and it can go on the wall or sit on your desk. So that's what we're going to be kind of playing for. I might change the design for next year, but it will be nice and be ready for everybody to go on and get ready for.
All you have to do
Fair
is
warning, Sonny.
All you have to do is change the year. Okay,
Yeah,
because nothing's
here
going to change.
he's gonna live on that. So we got to definitely. But the gentleman who won the 2 years before that, Brian Tarvin, he doesn't come on the show very often because he's a dad and he's very busy. But that's the guy you got to worry about. And Trey is the one. Now I led the league last year for 13 weeks. Yeah, I went back and counted. I needed that, and the last 3 weeks is where I kind of, lost it. And this guy went in and moved. Oh, it's heartbreaking when you're
Hey,
winning
it's how
all
you
year
do in
long.
this. It's how you do in December and January, right?
You're
December
absolutely
and
right.
January, those are the money
It's
months.
absolutely the money. Yeah. So if you can't do it in the money months, you can't get it done. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead. Let's get started, and we'll get Cuervo in here. He says he is on his way, but today it is the AFC East predictions. This is not my uh, 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 order that I have for my football team. I'm trying to grab my pen and everything. All right, so there that. So you got the Buffalo Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. Now, I don't know. This is one of the toughest divisions to pick, except for the last. I think pretty easy. And we're going to talk about it, but this is another one like the NFC North. This is a tough division to figure out because we don't. Well, I think we kind of know what one team is, but we don't know what the Dolphins are, how they're going to put together. Tua gets his money. Congratulations. Hey, very good. The Buffalo Bills, what are they going to be with their quarterback? That's going to be the tough thing. And then you got the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. What's that going to be all about? That being said, that leads me to the team that I don't think is going to be, anywhere near the top or red for the running. And it's not necessarily their fault because what happens is when you lose an iconic coach and you bring in new guys and now the whole program has changed, but I don't think the Patriots are one of those football teams that are going to be capable of maybe getting over that. And what I mean by that is because the tradition is there. They got to live up to the tradition. And I don't know, and I might be wrong, but I don't see where this football team has got an opportunity to make a big splash, not only in their division, but through their whole schedule this season. So I'll throw this to Dollar Bill. You got a new rookie quarterback, you got a new head coach, you got a new regime. He is a player's guy, but the question is, what do you think about the team I think will be in fourth place, the New England Patriots?
Well, Sonny, I am right in the same boat with you. This team will definitely be at the bottom of this division again. Um, like you said, it's a lot of questions still left over with this team. First being, who's going to take over for that leadership role for that team? Who's going to step up? They haven't had a real player step up as the leader on this team since Tom Brady left.
Right.
Now that the coach, the longest tenured head coach in the league, Bill Belichick, he's no longer coaching for this team. That was the real leader in that locker room. Now you got Gerard Mayo and then rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. They did bring Jacoby Brissett back, who they said is probably going to be the week one starter as they try to ease Drake May into this. But there are still so many unanswered questions. Like, who are they going to be throwing the ball to? The two longest tenured receivers on the team are Jalen Rager, bust that's on his fourth or fifth team, and KJ Osborne, who was just maybe wide receiver 3 on the Vikings last year. So it's not looking good for the Patriots in their offensive situation. They just got rid of Matthew Judon, who didn't even want to be in the building. So it's not really looking good for the start of this rookie tenure for the quarterback and head coach for the Patriots.
Definitely. And by the way, that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. You when you bring in the expectations of your football team for this year cannot be there. Now, that also being said, the expectations are, and I didn't have a lot of slides for this because it is just that bad. But what I was looking at, this is what it boils down to. It's not about the free agents. It's not about the draft. It's what they lost. I mean, goodness gracious, look at all those guys that are there. Whether it is Mac Jones going over to my Jaguars, which I'm not very pleased about, Ezekiel Elliott, no big deal. Then you get some retirement, but these are the guys that we talk about from 12 to 53. And these are some of these guys have been picked up. A lot of them have been picked up. Look at them. The Bengals jumped on them. The Cardinals jumped on them. Ravens jumped on them. So, some of these guys are going to be big time players for the new team that they went to. The question is what can they do with the draft? The guys that are going to come in, they are going to have to be able to step up and step in really quick. And some of the additions, which, by the way, if you, I don't understand. I've been watching football for a lot of years, and what the Jacoby Brissett pick up,
That was terrible. Crazy knuckleheaded terrible.
All that good stuff, and we can roll through that. But what has he ever done except for 1 year in mop-up season that isn't going to, I mean, you look at him, I think he did okay in Cleveland, but not enough to say, man, this is a guy that we can depend upon week in and week out if we lose our starter. But now they got him going as the starter. And that is where my problem with this football team is at right now, because I don't see much coming from Mayo. He's going to be the rookie quarterback for this football team. And so you're going to have your ups and downs, mostly downs. You'll get you'll see flashes of greatness in reality, but you're not going to see a consistent week in and week out. Why? Because when you go to college and you go into the NFL, or come from the college into the NFL, it's a total different monster. And I don't know about Trey, but looking at the Patriots, what's your take upon what you see on the Patriots week in and week out coming into this season, based upon what we just got done talking about?
Well, you had one guy just posted that they might go 6-11 this year.
Yes,
Six is a little too generous. At most, they might win 5. And
Yep.
I see them being kind of a pesky opponent for some teams. Probably no one in our division, no one in that division except for maybe the Jets, depending on how they fare in the Aaron Rodgers injury sweepstakes. But if he can stand up for a full year, but as far as this year. They kind of remind me of how the Arizona Cardinals used to be. How you kind of pencil in a win, but you're gonna struggle to get that win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they're gonna be as rugged and tough as what the Cardinals used to be, but I do see them trying to find some momentum, and when they do, it'll be really quick. Like, oh my God, they put up 10 points automatically. The other team just put up 17, so that's the game. So I mean, I see a team that is gonna they're gonna try to find themselves this year, in a year where they need to sit there and just get the experience in right now. This is not a make or break year for that team. And yeah, they have the tradition, all that stuff. But let's face it, at one point or another, the Browns had tradition. That went away really quick.
Yep.
So I mean, the Bears had tradition. That went away really quick. So, this is not a make or break for their head coach, their quarterback, whoever they got. This is, let's try to survive this year. And surviving might be at most 5 wins.
Yeah. And not only that, the schedule is brutal. When you're looking at that. By the way, Soul Live, thanks for joining us here. He's been coming in here lately, checking us out. I'd like to welcome into the show, and he's got the Pats in last place within this division. As much as we have the Patriots in last place as far as this division is concerned, and not only that. let's just say they decide to come and they get a win here and there. It's still not going to be enough to get them into thinking for wild card. And if that is the case, as far as Robert Kraft, Mayo, and any of the football players on that team, they got to learn to grow together. And I don't know, we're just not going to see the growth within the first year of having all the new guys on this football team going in there. Now, that being said, of course, Saul comes out and he's got, I somewhat, this is his list, and we'll be talking about who I think that is going to be in third as far as that is concerned. And we'll talk about that. But as far as the Patriots, I think they're 3 years out. And so that's where I was with them. So that's going to lead me to, and now we get into the meat of the division. This is the tough part. Bills, are they going to be the same? Are they going to be able to put it together? Dolphins, are they going to be able to handle it? It's one of those tough divisions of football. But, when I was looking at it, I want very much to put the Jets in third place. But here's why I can't. And it's one person that played, 4 plays last year? It's all about one guy. And that one guy is Aaron Rodgers. So putting them in last place is something that I don't know if I can do. I've seen the guy play. It's not like he is a scrub. This guy comes in and week out and does what he needs to. Now, that being said, before we go any further, let's bring him on in. He is the fine co-host of this program. It's the one, the only Cuervo. He's getting that workout in the morning, getting set and ready for it. And always good to see him. It is Cuervo. Good to see you. I'll switch that thing to where we can actually see you. How you doing today, Cuervo? Okay.
Morning, guys. How's everybody doing? I'm good.
Got my coffee. We're doing good.
Ready to go.
Okay. Now, let me just give you a heads up. You're on a pretty good delay, not necessarily a close one. We'll let it play here for a little bit. I'm going to throw the Patriots to you. Jump in, tell us what you think about the Patriots and where you think that they're going to end up in the AFC East.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll restart again, guys. I'll restart again.
Yeah, all right, so he's going to restart. Yeah, it's not a good connection, so we'll go ahead and we'll take that. I'll take out dollar bill until he comes back. So I wanted to get his take up on the Patriots, but back to what I was talking about, I wanted to put the Jets there. I can't. Trey, you got Aaron Rodgers. If this guy somewhat stays up, you're not down without injuries. This is really last year's the first one where you didn't see a lot of Aaron Rodgers in a regular season since he's played. So everybody talking about the injury prone. He's not necessarily injury prone. I don't even know where they're getting that. Yes, he has some problem, but he still performed when he was injured. So, but that being said, I think I've decided on the team that I'm going to put in third place. And I know it's almost insane when I'm thinking about it. But, oh, wait, hold on. Let me see here. Cuervo, there you are. Hey, that's better. I know that's your phone.
That is my phone. My stupid laptop's asking for all kinds of updates and crap. So
gotcha. So we got you up on the phone. Go talk a little bit before we get to my team that I was going to go for. Talk about the team I think is fourth, the Patriots. There's a football team that's just kind of, starting anew and talk about really fresh. A tough time to be a Patriots fan for the next couple of years, I would think.
Yeah, they had their run, they had their time, and things move on, and now it's time for them to be the '90s Patriots again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's no big surprise. I'm pretty sure 99% of people I know that the Patriots are going to finish last in this division, so it's really no big surprise. I think we all got them finishing last, unless somebody's got a wild hair up their ass. Um, but I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, the Patriots they're going through a lot of transition, guys. I mean, new coach, uh, new leadership over there in New England. So it's just a huge transition period for them,
Right.
and the question is going to be how long before we see Drake May in the lineup, because Jacoby Brissett, I mean, I just don't know how much he can do with the team that they've got built over there. I mean, who's their number one receiver? Who we know what they got in the backfield with Stevenson, but
Mhm.
what do they have at who's Brissett going to throw to? So it's not really a Brissett problem. It's a receiving core problem. They really
Yes.
don't have a whole lot to throw to.
Yep.
So
And the losses this offseason, Devontae Parker, he went ahead and retired. Not that he was like the greatest thing, but he was there. He was an option for them. And then what did they get in the draft? They get a young guy out of Washington with Polk. I like him. I like his up thing. Then you got UCF's Baker. As far as that, and then Rieger out of the free agents, but that's just and Osborne, this is a makeshift offense. Let's just be honest, especially at the wide receiver position. So makeshift does not usually spell out good things for your football team in the NFL. Usually it's got to be stable. It's got to be something they can build on. It's got to be something that is a must see kind of thing. And you're just not getting it through the Patriots. So, but
yep.
like you said, Cuervo, everybody has them feeling, landing there. So now what I've decided, the rest of the three teams, Cuervo, in this division is so tough to figure out, because these are teams that are Heckle and Jekyll. I mean, I don't know. It's just that's what it is. We go to Forrest Gump. We don't know what we're going to get here. In reality, as far as that's concerned, I don't know. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring the team that I think is going to end up in third place. And this is because this is your fault, Cuervo, by the way. I want you to know the reason why I finally came to where I came to as far as the Buffalo Bills were concerned is you bringing up that stat about their quarterback, what he does, and the turnover machine that he is, and where he's going. Now I can't get that out of my mind. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I just, and the thing that they have, I don't know if they've done enough in to take over this.
Yeah, listen. So that was more. No, I didn't mean to swing you that much, Sonny, but that was more about the postseason for him.
Mhm.
I just see him as being a guy that can get you there, but he's not gonna get over the hump of kind of like a Phillip Rivers was in his career, kind of like. Sorry, Trey, but I got to use Dak Prescott as an example. I mean, he's going to get you to the playoffs.
I just said that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, my phone is kind of acting up now, too. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi, but yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a guy that he'll get you a lot of regular season wins. He's gonna put up a lot of stats, and he's gonna get you there. Come playoff time, though, that's when he starts to fall off. And I mean, there you go. You see it right there. Regular
This
season,
is the
I mean,
fantasy. This is the fantasy, and he does pretty well in the fantasy leagues.
oh yeah, absolutely. And for you fantasy guys out there, I don't really see much of a drop off. I know everybody's kind of like, well, he lost Stephon Diggs and he lost Gabe Davis and this and that. Yeah, that's all true. However, I think Josh Allen is a guy that can still, throw for. They're gonna be a pass first team. They bring in Keon Coleman they drafted, and they brought in Curtis Samuel over from Washington. So they've got weapons still. They're not at that level of Diggs and Davis, But I'll tell you a guy. Here's a little nugget for you fantasy players out there. Take a close look at Dalton Kincaid, the tight end. I think he's a guy that can be somebody you can plug in, and you can get some good numbers out of him. I expect to see more of Kincaid this year. He was a rookie last year, but yeah, take a close look at Kincaid. If you get an opportunity to draft him, not too early, but go ahead and grab him up for your team.
Yeah, and just as you say that, I bring up the wide receiver depth for the Buffalo Bills, and this along with what you were saying about your guy. Okay, well, I'm exaggerating, but when you take a look at Josh Allen, then you look at this wide receiver depth that they got. I'm not impressed. But so is Josh Allen going to be one of those quarterbacks that define themselves as one of the best by making no names like these and maybe even Chase Claypool, even though I think he just got hurt, make a name for these guys? And that's going to be the problem. I don't know if he is the guy that's going to be able to push these guys to be the guys that they need to be week in and week out in order to be in the chase for this division, which is really tough based upon the other two teams that we haven't talked about, Dollar Bill.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely in agreement with Cuervo and you guys when it comes to the Bills. I definitely still see Josh Allen being able to make a lot of plays, a lot of abilities that it's not going to go away overnight just because you lose your favorite target and wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. Now, granted, he did press a lot last season, which resulted in a lot of turnovers, a lot of unusual plays for Josh Allen. And I think that we might see a little bit more pressing since he doesn't have his top favorite wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. He's got some unproven guys in Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, like Cuervo noted, that, he doesn't necessarily have that chemistry with. He doesn't necessarily have that repertoire with yet. So we might see a little bit more pressing from Josh Allen. That might be something to watch for next season, and those turnovers for him, those late game turnovers and stuff like that, because we did see in a lot of games, most notably that Chiefs playoff game, where he did find himself pressing, trying to do a little bit too much. He fumbled the last drive of the game, threw another interception in that game. So he was doing a whole lot more than he probably needed to do. So will he be looking to do that again with some guys that he might not have that chemistry with just yet?
Well, here's what here's what I know is that Josh Allen can't get past the Chiefs. 5 of the last 6 playoff games, guess what? They've been knocked out by the Chiefs. So that being said, and I'll go ahead and bring unmute. Wait, hold on. Unmute. Are you muted there, Trey, or did I do that? Why can't I get that unmute? There he is.
Yeah, you muted me. You don't like me no more.
No, I did. You had a lot of background noise. But what's your take up on what you're seeing from the Bills as far as this season's concerned?
The Buffalo Bills are like the Dallas Cowboys. They're a good 12-5 regular season team. They have a quarterback who's very much like Dak Prescott. But remember, I mean, when he showed how many interceptions he threw last year, remember 2 years ago, Dak was throwing picks left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, he kind of figured out the best way to throw the ball. It didn't help him out there in the postseason because he threw 4 in one game.
Right.
So, I mean, the thing is, like, it all kind of caught up to him eventually. He's a nice quarterback. He's not the end all be all that everybody seems to think he is, but he is a nice quarterback.
Well, he hasn't proven it yet, Trey, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is he's in a division right now to where nice quarterbacks, they just have nice seasons. They don't have great seasons. They have nice seasons. Now, he's lost a lot of key players on that team to help him with his stats and everything else. And this could hurt him. This could really hurt him because does he have a down-the-field receiver that he can connect to? Does he have a tight end that he can get the short yardage to? I don't know. I don't know what Buffalo has this year. Because, like you said, as you post, they lost a lot.
Yep.
So, I think third place. This is going to fall. This is going to kind of fall on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers coming off that knee injury, right?
Yep.
Remember, it took Dak about a good year for him to feel really good about that knee of his. And so you're talking about a quarterback a little bit older than Dak, a quarterback who's not still familiar with the New York Football Jets. So, and plus that division, I don't know what to think about what he's going to do moving forward to that next year. So right now, I got the Jets being in third, not so much the Bills.
So, all right. So that being said, I think there's another layer to this, Cuervo. I think what I'm seeing is that this coaching staff for this football team, and I'm really only talking about one. In reality, I'm talking about the head coach. Sean McDermott has been a consistent through this whole thing. So why are they not getting over the hump there, Cuervo, with their guy? Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but what I'm saying is what has he done to get up and over the hump? And the hump, obviously, being you got to figure out how you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I mean, that's every team in the AFC is trying to figure that out, how to beat that team. So it's not just a Buffalo Bills problem. It's a Cincinnati Bengals problem. It's a Baltimore Ravens problem. It's a Houston Texans problem now because they're going to be the next team up and coming in AFC. But yeah, but that's the mystery, like how to get over Patrick Mahomes, just like how it was when Tom Brady was ruling the AFC, when Peyton Manning was ruling the AFC. So, it's not just a Josh Allen, it's not just a Buffalo Bills problem. But when it comes to Buffalo, I'm looking right here at and it's kind of what you brought up too, Sonny. Think guys that they brought in, guys that they lost, and I mean they lost a lot. They lost brutal. A lot of people. And that is, you know what? I put that on the GM. I put that on the GM because he mismanaged some things and it caused them to have to salary dump a lot of guys. They had to trade Diggs. They had to get rid of guys like a Micah Hyde. They had to get rid of guys like a Jordan Poyer, outstanding safety.
Trey White as well.
Yeah, Tre'Davious White, good corner. I mean, he's had some knee issues lately, but when he's healthy, he's good corner. So I'm interested to see. I think he's with the Rams now, I believe. Yep. So, but I put that on the GM because it's the GM's job to give the head coach, all the ingredients to make the meal. As I think Bill Parcells put it one time, but now this is what happens when you mismanage your roster and your salary. And now Sean McDermott is going to be expected to produce the same results with less talent, and that's not easy to do, guys. So,
I think they missed their window. I mean, in reality, that's when you
absolutely
they for the last 4 years is when actually 6 in reality, if you look at it, that defense, for the last 6 years before last year was almost lights out and unbelievable. Then they started losing guys up on top of it. It's almost like they say this football team with with the chemistry that they have, it might have just passed them by. That's one of the reasons why I've dropped them down because normally I was thinking about putting them second, but the problem is that they're past their prime. They lose their guys. They don't have what they used to have. Then you got a coach trying to figure out and put together a puzzle, and they're going to be missing the corners. Okay. And I'm not talking the cornerbacks. I'm talking about the established things that keep your football team afloat. And say whatever you want about Diggs and his attitude and everything. That guy produced numbers. Okay. That was the guy that he depended upon. Now he's got to figure that out now. Who's going to be the guy that's going to step up? Is it going to be someone, obviously it's going to be someone that we don't know. It's going to be someone that we don't go, that guy's a superstar in the making. We don't know because we see the roster. We go, I don't know about this because of this and things of that sort. So Josh Allen, if he's going to be that superstar quarterback that Troy Aikman was, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, making superstars out of nobody, I just don't see it yet. And I think it's a little bit too late in his career for him to become that. And I'm afraid of that. This year, we're going to find out if he can do it. And I just don't do it. So that being said, I have the Buffalo Bills in third place. Trey, do I got you muted? I got you muted. So let me unmute you. Where do you have the Buffalo Bills in this division? I think you said second, but I want to just reaffirm.
Yeah, second, because here's the thing, and just think about this. What's the difference between Mike McCarthy and Sean McDermott?
Good point.
So both guys can get you 12 win seasons, right? I mean, McCarthy's done that 3 years in a row. So again, you're good in the regular season, not so much in January. So I got them doing pretty well throughout the year. But again, I don't buy into the hype of Josh Allen because, like Dak Prescott, you've seen what he can do elsewhere.
Yep.
And until he does anything else on that other front, then just you get more of the same.
Definitely. So, Dollar Bill, where do you have the Bills within this division?
I'm with you and Cuervo. Sonny, Jets are going to. The Bills are going to be in third place.
That's where I got him. And Cuervo, you seem to be undecided about them. So, what's your final take up on it? Where do you think the Bills land in this division?
Yeah, Sonny, I guess I tried to steer you in a direction where I thought the Bills were going to be better, but you can't fool Sonny Clark.
Nope.
You can't fool him. But no, yeah, I just think because of the drop in talent, I think I got the Bills finishing third as well.
Yeah. But you know what I worry about, which is the Podfather. The Podfather, like he said, you can see him winning 12 games sometime, maybe 11. And also think about this as far as the other divisions are concerned. When I look at the South, I only see one coming out of the South. When I look at the East, I see maybe two, and then the North, big 2 or 3. Maybe the second place team in the AFC East doesn't get the wild card, and that could end up being ugly as far as any other teams that don't finish on top in this division. It's such a tough division, but that's where I landed. So we got everybody but the Podfather with the Bills in third place, and I worry about that. He might be right. Watch out for those. I just said it. I said he was right.
Who's the champ? Who's the champ?
By the way, now Cuervo, I don't know if you know it, but I finally was able to get the trophy all set for Mr. Trey Mack. I don't know. Did you get the opportunity to see it?
I saw the picture that you had posted. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting nicer, more so than the ones that we started out. But yeah, I'll put it back up there. It's awful pretty, and that's a metal. It's heavy, and it can go on the wall right there. So this is for the bragging rights championship. And Trey's all he's just saying is we just need to change the year for this one. So I don't know if we get Harvin in a full year, because sometimes he waits for the first 5 to 6 weeks. I think it could get ugly if he decides to get involved with week 1 through 5. So anyway, all right. So let's do this then. Now, figuring out who's going to be in second place in this division. I really wanted to take this and say, I think I got a spoiler. And for me to say this, it just really hurts me because Aaron, I almost put the Jets in first place in this division. I came this close to doing it. But with the year off is what I'm not saying he's not going to win football games. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not even going to say they're not going to be deep into the playoffs. What I'm saying is they're going to make the playoffs, I think, and then they're going to make some noise. But as far as maybe winning the division, I don't think we're going to end up seeing in reality the Jets winning the division. It's going to be one of these tough divisions, for that. Yes, that is. It's yeah. There you go. Sonny Clark 24 at gmail.com. Saul, if you want to be a part of our bragging rights show, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as well. But here is the schedule. And you want to talk about a schedule in reality that sets up for Aaron Rodgers to come back to be successful? I think it is outside of week 1. Because the Titans, I don't know. The Patriots, the Broncos, I don't know. The Viking, oh my gosh. You're looking at a team that could be 4-1 before they hit the Bills, and they could be 5-1. And if the Steelers aren't playing well, 6-1, 7-1, watch out for the Jets. So I've been bouncing back and forth about this schedule, but then you go into the end of the schedule. Okay. Now, a lot of people are talking about the Rams being a good football team. Will the Bills bounce back toward the end of the year? Then you end with the Dolphins. Will the Jaguars be contenders? This schedule sets up for the New York Jets to maybe lose only 4 games. But I go back to the Aaron Rodgers situation. Is this it? So that being said, Cuervo, you saw the schedule. If this was Aaron Rodgers 3 years ago, they'd lose 2, maybe 3 games this year. But will he be that guy? So I'm going to ask Cuervo, looking at Aaron Rodgers, looking at the Jets, looking at the pressure, by the way, $100 million in 2 years for a quarterback who played 4 plays last year. This is a guy that's got to step up, to maybe earn his money. But then you got to ask yourself the question, does Aaron Rodgers care?
Care about only playing 4 plays? Probably not.
Or does Aaron Rodgers feel pressure? It just seems like to me, this is a guy that don't care if he's got pressure. And if everybody wants to say, hey, you better do well, he's going to say, hey, well, screw you. I'll do what I'm going to do, kind of thing. It's a guy, he just doesn't seem to give a rat's fat ass.
So you're saying he's got the Jay Cutler syndrome?
You know what? That is a great comparison in reality.
I don't like it, but it's the facts. It's true.
Yes.
When he was rolling with us, he just had that I don't care attitude.
Yes.
That's why he had to get shown the door eventually. But
usually, but then so. I don't know how much that you've been looking on it. Here's some of the departures and the additions for this football team, and Reddick is one of them. But he's, this guy's already asked for a trade. I mean, so but I mean, Tyron Smith, over the hill kind of guy. We'll talk to Dalla about that. I mean, but can he stay healthy? But where I think they upgraded is the 2 Baltimore Ravens that they pulled on with Moses and Simpson. These 2 are anchors, and they will be very good. And this is what this football team needed to do, Cuervo, is to be able to protect your quarterback, and they addressed it really well in reality. So that being said, Cuervo, what's your take upon the Jets?
Yeah, I'm looking at this slide right here that you have up, as far as who they've brought in, and I'm seeing some red flags. All right, Hassan Reddick. The guy wants to get traded. Hasn't even played it down for the Jets yet. Mike Williams already hurt. And then
I'll get back
Tyron Smith, Dollar Bill and Trey know all about that guy.
He'll be hurt by week 5.
Yeah, right. That was going to be my question. What week does he get hurt? It's not a matter of if he gets hurt, but when he gets hurt. So now Javon Kinlaw, the Kinlaw's not a bad pickup. I think they shopped like middle shelf on that one. And then Moses and Simpson, I mean, you want to get the best opportunity to protect Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think some of the additions that they've made, it's kind of like it looks good on paper, but when if you're somebody that really knows the game and knows who these players, you see those three on top right there, and they're all like, yeah, it
Question marks.
sounds good, but it's not good.
Yeah, question marks in reality. So, I also
Right.
think we're losing Bryce Huff is not a very good thing for this football team because it changes what your defense looks like. Here's your projected starters for the Jets when they go into that. I think it's solid. Obviously, I think it's one of the best divisions in football on the defensive side of the ball. So, Dollar Bill, when you're looking at the Jets, we talked a little bit about the offensive line. They bring in Tyron Smith. What's your take up on the Tyron Smith situation for the Jets? Does it help? Oh, will it help? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I definitely think Tyron Smith in all his totality and everything that he brings, yes, he will definitely provide a lot of much needed offensive line help. The question behind Tyron Smith is how long can he provide that help to Aaron Rodgers? You have an aging quarterback, one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league, coming off an Achilles injury, one of the most devastating injuries to happen to anybody in sports, really. And you're asking, like you said, well over the hill offensive lineman to protect his blind side, the most important spot on that offensive line, the left tackle. And you have you're bringing in a guy that you already know for a fact is not going to be able to play all 17 games.
Yep.
That's
And
major red flag.
Yeah, the red flags are all over. Trey, I don't know what you're feeling about losing to Tyron Smith. Do you care? Or I think they, more in the fact that I don't know if I care, but he could be a guy that maybe can teach someone what to do. But it doesn't seem like he's that kind of guy that wants to give an education about playing that position to anybody. It seems to me, anyway.
Well, him and Aaron Rodgers will get along just fine, won't they?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that Tyron Smith is a great ball player when healthy. So that might be 6 games a year. Okay? I mean, let's face it, he's getting older in age. So, I mean, nobody ages backwards.
Yep.
And them joints and them bones and them tendons and everything about him at his size is getting to that point to where, a little long in the tooth when it comes to I hate to compare him to Larry Allen because Larry Allen was so great.
Yes.
But the thing is, even Larry Allen knew he had injury problems. His last couple of years with the Niners. So it doesn't take away how great he was, but at the same time, it's like we're kicking the can down the road here a little bit farther to see what we got left. I don't trust that he's going to stay healthy for a full year because he never has. So, and he plays that position to where he's on the ground more than anything else.
Yep.
So, best of luck to him on that. Look, everybody lost somebody this year, right? Everybody's lost players on their team that could have helped them this year. That's free agency. So, what have the Jets done to rebuild? They're hamstrung. They got to pay Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
So, going out there and getting, second-tier players to help play first-tier positions may not be the best thing, but it might be the only thing they can do. So, it's going to be tough. But having said that, and, I think, you're looking at a team that's really going to be a third-place team more than anything.
Yeah, so Trey has declared, obviously, the Jets going to end up third in
Write
this
it down.
division.
Write it down right now so you don't remember this is.
No, I that's what I've been doing. I've been writing it down. So I got Trey with the Jets in that. So that being said, and I'll shoot this over back to Cuervo. We just talked about it briefly, but then you got a Reddick that is one of these guys that are trying. It seems like when they get their guy, and now he wants to be a headache. right? He wants to be a headache now. He wants to be traded. The Jets have come out and said straight out they're not going to do it, and they've informed him he isn't going to go anywhere. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not liking that idea as far as an unhappy guy who you brought in for your football team to be the guy, a guy that helps, solidify this defense, because let's be honest, it needs to be solidified, because trying to depend upon a guy such as, Aaron Rodgers to have it all on his shoulders, you can't do that to an aging quarterback, and you can't do that to a quarterback that's making $50 million a year. 4 plays last year for $50 million. I don't think they got their money's worth. They need to get their money's worth from him this year, and they need to keep him upright, but they need some help on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they do. And once again, I'm gonna put this one on the GM. He punted this one in the stands, guys. And I say that because think about it. So you trade for let's call Hassan Reddick what he is. He's one of the top pass rushers in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you trade for him. You give up the capital that you gave up with no intentions of extending his contract or signing him to a new deal. How much sense does that make?
It doesn't seem like that, but if they don't get what they want out of him, if they sign him up on a crazy contract, they're going to regret it. They've already got bad enough situation with Aaron Rodgers like the last year. So you give up money, either A, doesn't live up to the potential, or B, at least their potential, or he gets hurt at the same time. And then if he gets hurt within this year, do you want to throw the money at him?
Then you know what, Sonny? If you think you may not get what you want out of him, don't trade for him.
I agree.
If you think you're not going to get production from a guy, that's like saying, well, let's trade the Bears. Let's trade for Montez Sweat, but we don't know what we're going to get from him, so we're not going to sign you to a deal until you show us something. Then don't trade for him if you don't believe he's going to improve your team. Yep. Like the Jets believed that trading for Hassan Reddick was going to improve their defense, and you knew that he was coming up on a new deal, that he was going to get a new contract. When you trade for the guy, see, and maybe this is what happened too. There was no talks prior to the trade,
yes,
of an extension getting done, and see, and that's where I give a lot of credit to my guy Ryan Poles, because I promise you, they didn't make that trade without talking contract extension. And that's why that deal got done. Because if you noticed, a week later, Sweat got a new deal with the Bears. So I think
they did the same thing with Moore at the wide receiver position as well.
Well, they just extended him this offseason. About a month ago, that deal happened. So, you trade for a guy with intentions of extend. Now, Keenan Allen's a different story, and we'll get to him later. But guys like a DJ Moore, Montez Sweat, and then going back to the Jets now, I just think that the GM mismanaged. He punted this one in the stands, guys. That's just my opinion. I think you don't trade for a guy that's in the prime of his career, that's getting double-digit sacks, and saying, "Yeah, we don't know if we want you to be here long term." This doesn't make any sense.
I get it. The business side really kind of, probably is a big side of that. But at the same time, I don't know what those contract negotiations are all about, if they are even being talked about. That's going to be the big question in reality. Dollar Bill, when you got a guy such as a guy that you, like we've said, you brought him in for a reason. He doesn't seem happy. He's already asked for the trade. It makes you kind of wonder, can the Jets defense, get over the hump in reality without having them in there, and or how does it affect team morale on the defensive side of the ball?
It affects the whole team's morale, not just the defensive morale. I think just having a guy that's disgruntled on the team that doesn't want to be there, he's going to let you know every single day, if you're forcing him to be there, his unwant and unresolved to want to be there in the first place. So, trading for a guy that you had no intention on, extending or signing, it didn't necessarily make any sense. You're trying to fill a hole with a hole in regards, because, this guy doesn't want to be there. and you're not trying your best to bring this guy along, this is an impact player. This is a guy that's had 28 combined sacks the last 2 years. So if you don't want to bring this guy into your defense to integrate him with the guys that you already have, then there was absolutely no point in wasting whatever capital that they gave up trying to get him in the first place. And I think with him on the defense, he could be outstanding and bring numerous bounds and leaps to this defense. I think without Hassan Reddick, they'll still be fine. They didn't have Hassan Reddick last year. This defense was still pretty much top 10 in every category. You know, they have Sauce Gardner. They have Williams in the middle on their defensive tackle. So they are very sound defensively on the line, on the linebacking core, as well as their secondary. But Hassan Reddick would provide another spark and another edge rusher to them that they didn't necessarily have last season. So I think they should probably look into trying to bring him along with a contract extension that would make him happy, because he's the type of impact player that you got to have on your team, and you got to have him happy.
Absolutely. And spending the money on a guy, I don't know. What's your take up on Reddick when you take a look at the Jets there, Trey? Do you see that as being a problem throughout the year if they don't get the deal done, or is he going to play up to his potential to hope to get more money based off of his performance this year?
Well, like what Joe said, I mean, the Jets defense was tops in the league last year without him. So if he's going to play to his paper, then he's going to have to really, put his negative thoughts aside and just play.
Yep.
Because once again, everything's a year-to-year basis. You play good this year, the other teams will be interested in you next year. That's simple. Real quickly, I want to go back to one thing that you keep mentioning now. And again, I can't really fault them for this. It's nobody's fault that Aaron Rodgers got hurt and got knocked out 4 games in the season last year. It was a freak of nature. It happened. Yes, it sucks that they paid him X amount of dollars to come to the team. But let me ask you a question: what team that desperately needed a quarterback last year wouldn't have done the same thing?
Oh, I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm just saying that's just one of the things that happened,
Right.
and it's like the only thing as far as a business side is concerned, you don't want to flush $50 million down the toilet, which ended up happening. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's just what happened. So now whether or not someone is able to get a lot of use out of listen, I thought, with the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers last year, this was a team that was at least a playoff contention team in reality, just based upon what Aaron Rodgers can do. And that's putting all the weight up on his shoulders. When you added him to that defense, you took a little weight up off those shoulders. So the shoulder injury that he had in Green Bay, outside of Devontae Adams, everybody was putting it on his shoulders to get the victory. Now you got a defense that is, top 3, maybe top 5 within the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers. You're going to spend the money to see if you can get it. It was a fluke accident, but at the same time, it was a flush of 50. I mean, and that is a tough flush to do, on any level in the NFL. So just kind of what I was looking at there. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Cuervo, I don't know if you're muted by yourself or not, but where do you have the Jets in this division?
Yeah, so I'll just say this. When it comes to 1 and 2, obviously we all have Miami or the Jets, first, second. It can go either way and not really be crazy for picking them in that order. So that's how close and competitive the division is this year. I think Buffalo and the Patriots are a little bit behind. Well, the New England's way behind, but I think Buffalo definitely took a step back with the loss that they had this year, going into this year. But when it comes to the New York Jets, guys, I think they win this division.
This close, Cuervo. I was thinking the same thing. I think, but I got a reason, but I'll tell you in a minute. But this one was a tough pick as far as it,
Yeah.
because everybody really, even the Bills to a certain extent, they're all right there. And they're
Yeah.
one or maybe two wins away from either making the playoffs or even to this point not making the playoffs. So it's just on which way are they going to go, up or down. And like Trey said, November, December, mainly January is where it's going to be the difference in this one.
Yeah, exactly. And even Buffalo putting them in second wouldn't be a crazy thing to do. I mean, because Trey's got them in second. That's not really that crazy to think about, because either Miami or the Jets could fall on their feet, and that one loss could be the difference.
Right.
That's how close these three teams I think are going to be. But I'm gonna bring in my inner Bryce here, and I'm gonna give you the three reasons why I got the Jets winning this division. Number one, I do think that a deal will get done for Hassan Reddick. I think they're just playing cat and mouse right now. They're kind of going back and forth. We haven't heard anything about it, which, no news is good news. I guess they're kind of keeping things under wraps. Hey, I'm all about it. Keep business in house. You don't need to, talk about it in public or whatever. I think a deal will eventually get done, and you will see Hassan Reddick on the field for the New York Jets. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to go back to what Trey was talking about. Listen, freak accidents happen, man. Like that Aaron Rodgers stuff, you could have never predicted that was going to happen. And so with that being said, Rodgers is going to be there this year.
Yep.
I don't see that happening again where he gets hurt first game into the season. I think he's going to play. He might miss one or two games. He might have a, sore rib or something like that. Something will happen. He might get nicked up. He might miss a game. And it just happens, especially at his age. Like, you can't expect him to be, 2012 Aaron Rodgers. It's just not going to happen. So that's number two. Number three, and the most important one, I think for me, is I think this team understands, and obviously the coaching staff understands, Robert Saleh's job is on the line. I'm telling you right now, his how do you say it, Sonny? His ass has griddle marks on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is on the hot seat, and I think this team is going to come together, and they're going to play for Saleh's job, and I think they're going to win some football games, and because I think they like playing for this guy, and I think they're going to do everything it takes to keep him as the head coach of the New York Jets. So that's going to be a huge motivation for them to go out there and play their ass off. So that's why I think the Jets are going to win this division.
Before I go to Dollar Bill, I just got
what?
In the brain room.
Dig it, sucker.
Solid, looking at it, digging deep, finding out who they're going to be playing week in and week out. It is the man with the best smile on the internet. It's Mr. Bryce from Brooklyn. What's up, my brother? Good to see you.
Good to see everyone.
Nice.
Are we going to get you like continuously now as we're getting so close to the NFL? Are we going to get you week in and week out, or do we got to wait until week one?
I think he's strapped in.
We're pretty much at week one. So
pretty much.
Yeah, we're going to be talking football. So, hey, I'm going to have to pop on in. It's always appreciate the intro. Always good to see everybody.
Yeah, it's always good to see you. Now, Bryce, before we go, because I'm going to go to Dollar Bill in just really second, I want you to talk about just the Patriots really quick. Not much to talk about them because of their, you want to talk about a major retread. That's what's going on up there in New England.
Before I talk about that, I do want to say it's good to see the Podfather. Good to see Dollar Bill back in the house. We're going to have 2 Cowboys fans this season. Everyone better strap in because the shenanigans are gonna be are going to be big and loud. So we better be ready to go for that.
So saying hi, and by the way, so what was your take up on the Patriots? Just really quick, because there's not much to talk about.
You
I don't
know,
think.
I'm going to tell you something about the Patriots. I don't think they'll be very good, but there's going to be some aspects of their team that surprise people. I think the run defense has a chance to be pretty good. Gerard Mayo, as a player, had a certain personality. Now, sometimes your personality as a coach obviously going to be different than the player. You as a player, but you are going to impress, if I can use the phrase, some of that DNA onto the team. I think that team, even with Belichick, was very competitive defensively. And I think their defense is going to give people problems, particularly if you are prone to not try to run the ball. They're going to make a lot of offenses one-dimensional. Now, do they have the talent to capitalize off that? I would say no, not yet. And the quarterback situation is too unsettled. They still have to rebuild the talent on offense. So, I would love to see what Gerard Mayo can do, even though I don't like the Patriots. But I'm still got them finishing fourth in this division.
Okay, most people except one Trey Mack has the Bills in third place. Trey Mack has the Jets in third place. What's your take up on what you're seeing as far as the Bills, really quick, and where do you have them as far as where they might finish in the division?
I think we might be, if it's possible, underestimating the Bills in terms of the Bills are not going to play offense the way they've played offense in the past. I think the last half of last season, they found something in the run game. They finally decided to minimize the number of attempts Josh Allen does, to minimize the mistakes he may make, even though you're going to get greatness because of his talent. It plays better when you run the football. I think from the gate, you're going to get a very balanced Bills offense that even without Stephon Diggs, I think quietly, that's one of the main reasons why they were a little more comfortable letting him go. Getting rid of a talent like Stephon Diggs, I don't know if I would do that. But to them, they're going to rely on the run game more, and they're going to not throw as much. So I think the Bills' offense might do more to protect their defense and allow them to play complementary football. So I would say right now, I have the Bills as the front runner to still win this division.
Wow. So a big shot there for the Bills. So, and we were just talking about the Jets as far as where they can end up within this division. Really quick, what's your take upon the Jets?
It's hard for me to pick the Jets to win this division. On the one hand, they better because they're all in. You bring Aaron Rodgers in, Super Bowl or bust.
Pretty much.
But, I don't know. It's still going to be their first year playing together. There's going to be some growing pains. The offensive line, I think, is still a little bit of a question mark. Are they going to be able to run the football consistently enough to protect Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers still, you're assuming he's going to have a great year and be at least a top 10 quarterback.
You would
So
think.
that's in their favor. And their defense has been legit, even though I think there are some plays that can be made on the defense. Particularly, I think the Jets and the back end and the front three are actually really good. I think the linebackers are good, but you can exploit, I think, some things in that linebacking core. I don't see there's not a guy that I think there's good players. There's not like a top 5 guy there where that defensive line is really salty and that secondary with Sauce Gardner is salty. I think there are some things you could take advantage of in that linebacker unit. I think it's going to be obviously a more competitive division, but I have the Jets finishing number 2.
Jets. All right. Very good. So that brings us, I want to throw it back to Dollar Bill really quick. So we'll get him to unmute his phone. Where the Jets are, what's your take on it? Where do you have the Jets finishing, and maybe a brief synopsis of why?
I have the Jets finishing just like Bryce at that number 2 spots. This is a division. It's going to be one of the toughest divisions in football. It's going to come down week 17, I think, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's probably going to be separated by no more than about 2 to 3 games for those 1 through 3 spots in this division. So it's going to come down to who wins those division games, who wins those tough, gritty 3 position games, or stuff like that. It's going to come down to those really nitty gritty moments. And I think that the addition of having Aaron Rodgers back, that veteran presence at that quarterback spot, they had a lot of games like that last year in which they lost, actually, having Zach Wilson and their pool of terrible quarterbacks in that mix last season for them. And they had a lot of games that came down to that last possession, or that came down to just one throw that was incomplete, or an interception, or a couple turnovers on Zach Wilson's behalf, that with Aaron Rodgers in position in that quarterback spot, he won't be making those same mistakes that Zach Wilson or Boyle, whatever terrible guy that you want to throw in the mix that took snaps for the Jets last season. That won't be the case for Aaron Rodgers, and I feel like for that very reason, they will at least be second place in the AFC East.
So that leads me to the reason. We heard the 3 reasons, and just really quick, Cuervo, so Bryce could hear your 3 reasons. Briefly roll over your 3 reasons, and then of why you have the Jets where they are, and then I'll go to the reason why I have the Dolphins where they are, because it coincides. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So Bryce, my inner Bryce came out, and I gave the 3 reasons why I think the Jets are going to win this division. So number 1, I think a deal will get done with Hassan Reddick. It's a lot of cat and mouse back and forth nonsense. I think the GM has punted it in the stands, for the time being, but a deal will get done. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. That was a freak accident. You never expect him to go down with an Achilles like that. That's not. I don't see that happening again for the rest of his career, to be honest with you. I think he'll be back full force, and I expect him to play all but maybe 1 game if he gets nicked up, something like that, or whatever. And the last but not least, I think, as you kind of said, I think the Jets are all in, not just personnel wise, but I think they're all in because they want to save Robert Saleh's job in New York. I think they like playing for this guy. They want to play hard for this guy, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win enough football games to keep him as the head coach of the New York Jets. So that's why I think they win.
Now, that part I completely agree with as far as that's concerned. All right, so go ahead. Trey's got his hand up real quick. Go ahead.
I got a what if for everybody here.
Okay.
What if the Jets start off 0-6 and Jets ownership says head coach has got to go? You got Aaron Rodgers, you can't win, and they pick up Bill Belichick to finish out the year. What does that do for the team there?
Well, I will say if they go that amount. Oh, hold on. I'm going to mute you just because we're getting feedback real quick. But I'm looking at their schedule. I only see 1 loss through week 5, and then it's a challenge. So I don't know. If they lose those football games, I can't even tell you what I think. So I'll throw it to Bryce from Brooklyn. Go ahead, Bryce.
I mean, it's an interesting scenario, Podfather, but I mean, I don't think an NFL team is, if you fire the coach in season, you're going to promote from within. You're not going to bring in somebody with like Belichick who would have to introduce a whole new system. So
I got to hire Hackett. That would be hilarious.
That's really the thing. Like you've almost set yourself up to where who would you replace Salah with if you did fire him inside? Because you're not doing it with Hackett. Stop it. So yeah. I think, but
hey, Bryce, he has coaching experience.
Right, yeah. If I'll as Thanos said, if you count failure as experience, then sure. Sure. But yeah, I mean, a coach like Belichick would be, he'd be great for that situation because of the defense, got a veteran quarterback. But I just don't see them bringing in someone like that off the street, basically, if you fire your coach midseason.
Mid-season, and
but-
Trey has the hard on for him too. So
But I'm just saying, it wouldn't be funny if Bill Belichick was the Phil Jackson of the NFL. He always goes to the team with the best quarterback or the best player ever, and then he was like saying, hey, I did it with Brady, I can do it with Rodgers, so let's go.
Well, I mean, and Bill can't do that. Bill can't do that because he's gearing up and getting ready to go coach in Dallas.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Whoa.
Dollar Bill.
Whoa.
I mean, do you first see that? Is that something you think?
Are we talking about the hypothetical of the Jets or
Yes.
the hypothetical of Bill Belichick going to Dallas?
Both. No. Bill Belichick's going to the Jets.
Okay. Well, based off of what we just saw with the Jets schedule, I could not see them even starting off 0-5 or 0-6, whatever hypothetical that Trey threw out.
But what if it happens though?
Playing devil's advocate. Yeah, Woody Johnson would definitely have Robert Saleh out of there after 0-4. It wouldn't even take 6 games. With that schedule, 0-4, yeah, Robert Saleh would be out of there. And let's say if they would bring a guy like Bill Belichick in there to go ahead and take over that team, I wouldn't think it would have much major impact on the season at hand, but maybe the next season and seasons after that, where Bill Belichick can really have his hands on that team's blueprint, what we start to see, more change in that Jets organization. But I feel like firing Robert Saleh a third of the way into the season and replacing them with a guy like Bill Belichick, as great as Bill Belichick is, I really wouldn't see much change happening inside that franchise within the season, at least.
Plus, going 0-6, your chances of making the playoffs are about the chance of me losing 100 pounds. Probably not going to happen. Cuervo.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little unrealistic, but let's say it does happen. I think they fire. I think, like Bryce said, they'll get rid of Saleh, and they'll probably bring up Hackett or Walker, the defense. No, he's not the defensive coordinator. Whoever it is, they're going to promote from within, because I don't think Bill Belichick would even take that job, as I think he's going to wait for another job in New York to open and take that job.
Right. Because he can start off from the bottom in reality, but maybe
telling me there's a chance.
Don't know. Maybe a chance, but I agree with you. If he was going to take a job in New York, it'd be the Giants. Now, that being said, that takes us to the team I think is going to be in the first place part of this. Now, and we got the 3 reasons why Cuervo had it. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I changed this. Now, I don't know when it happened. I just found out about it yesterday. One of the things, and Bryce knows this about me probably better than most, is I hate bowing down to players. I hate, having to kiss their ass to make them happy, because they always, you can't hurt their feelings. Guess what? They didn't do it in Miami. They didn't let it get to the point where one guy, as far as Tua is concerned, to where he gets unhappy. So he's still happy. He still has Tyreek Hill. He's got anything. I'm telling you, when I saw that and they made it happy, and then I heard yesterday as well what happened when one other former head coach of this football team had something to say. He had something to say about him, that being Brian Flores. It was a big story about how critical it was. So, his feelings were hurt, but they got the guy that is gonna, make him happy. And Mike McDaniel. Now, there's no question in my mind that Tua is definitely has the higher upside with McDaniel, because say whatever you want, and Bryce, I'll just throw it to you really quick. I hate this ass kissing to certain players, but in reality, in Miami, I think you had to do it. In reality, keep everybody happy, keep that number one offense in passing in the NFL where it's at. What's your take upon that?
I mean, if that was Flores didn't deny anything. Now you may not like the timing of when he said it. In terms of Dollar Bill, you don't know this about Sonny Clark, but Sonny Clark, he's trying to pull a fast one because yes, there are times players can complain, and people may complain that the players aren't as tough as in the past, and I understand that. That's not what Sonny Clark does. Anytime any player advocates for themselves, Sonny Clark turns into the old man yelling at the cloud.
I got to interrupt you. There's one that I didn't. Okay, and everybody says that I'm wrong, and I'm talking about the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver, trying to set up to get his money and everything else. I was so shocked that everybody was not on my side as far as that was concerned, because I'm like, yeah, get your money, hold out. You're still going to get your money. He doesn't need it right away, but he's making a point to get his money and things of that sort, and changing how that whole thing happens. And Cuervo jumped on me, you can't buy his jersey now and everything else, but he's holding out for businesses. So I just wanted to let you know at least one guy I was right there for. So there you go.
Okay, great. I mean, a dead clock is right twice a day. Okay, so good for you. One side of a player.
Gotcha.
I really agree with a lot of what Dollar Bill said about this, which is about the 2 to 3 games. You're going to have to win the tough, gritty games. Here's my issue with the Miami Dolphins, why I have them in at 3, is that in the beginning of the season, those first 8 games when temperatures tend to be pretty, mild and warm, gangbusters, because they have a lot of explosiveness. They've got the play caller.
Yeah.
It allows them to play with a lead and allows their defense to get going. They just, as an organization, have not figured out how to play the type of football, even back when Dan Marino was there, to play the type of football that allows you in cold weather games, when the playoffs matter, when the season becomes a little bit of a grind, to win those 17, 14 games when the weather is bad and you have to play football a certain way. They just don't seem to ever be built to win those games when it matters. And I think the Jets and the Bills are more built to win those games. Even with the Jets, with the cold weather quarterback, we've seen Aaron Rodgers be able to orchestrate victory and be great playing in the weather in Green Bay. I haven't seen that yet from the Miami Dolphins. And I think that speaks to what Dollar Bill is saying. You get into these close games pretty late in the season. Do the Miami Dolphins have the makeup when they can't be as explosive to win those games?
That's a great point.
I don't trust it. That's why I got a 3rd.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and bring Trey in on this one. I'm not sure where he is as far as his travel, so I wanted to get his opinion. What's your take upon what you're seeing as far as the Dolphins and Saul? And that's a good point. They need home field advantage if at all possible, which in turn has them win this division. And I agree with you. Go ahead there, Trey. Do I air? You're unmuted. Go ahead.
This team has been building for the last couple of years. And think of it this way, it's been 40 years since Miami was actually a difference maker. Think about that. 40 years. So I like their coach for what he is. He's more of an analytic kind of guy, but I mean, it works for Miami. I think Is that me or is that somebody else?
Go ahead. I'm just throwing up the slides while you're talking.
Okay. No, but I've got Miami finishing number one. And I think they do it in a three team type race. And so, and like I said, it's gonna be determined whether or not Aaron Rodgers can stay upright all year long. But I think Miami's gonna be the team to beat in that division. As in, everybody's gonna be a good 12-5, 13-4 type team in the three teams we're talking about. Poor Patriots, but I look at what they added in the offseason, and they didn't lose a whole lot. So, and plus, honestly, who doesn't want to go play in Miami? I mean, Miami is like the best town to play in when it's a very up and coming team, which is what they are. And again, the Jets. I mean, that team, as good as their defense is, it relies on their quarterback. And last year we saw what their quarterback couldn't do for them. The Bills, nice team. Josh Allen, nice quarterback. Again, they'll have a nice record. It'll be a great record. I think Miami will be that team this year, so that's why I got them going number one.
Dollar Bill, when you're looking at this, and what's your take up on, the Dolphins? I think what really does need to happen is they really need to utilize their wide receivers in the Tyreek Hill, but the Waddles and the other guys that are going to be the thing. But we can look at all of that, and you have to ask the big question about the Dolphins defensively. Are they able to hold on to those games, especially when in those cold weather elements and things of that sort?
So I would say, Sonny, that the Dolphins are probably one of the most intriguing teams in this division. Last season, I loved what I saw from the Dolphins early on, but thing is, they were front runners.
Mm-hmm.
They got off to the lead, and they will put the foot on your neck. But if it came down to those nitty-gritty games like we saw in the playoffs versus the Kansas City Chiefs, they could not pull those games out. They didn't necessarily make a whole lot of offseason moves, but they didn't necessarily have to. They did lose 3 key defensive starters, but they are getting some guys back from injury. Bradley Chubb and Jordan Phillips, they're 2 top pass rushers. So I think that'll be very key because those guys were missing in that Kansas City playoff game. So
yes,
maybe they could have provided a spark for the Dolphins and that defense and bringing a little bit of pressure to Patrick Mahomes, making him uncomfortable. They did go ahead and help out Tua, added another weapon in Odell. We'll see what he is. He wasn't that necessarily the number 1 wide receiver that the Ravens needed him to be last year, but as the number 3 option on the Dolphins, or maybe even 4 after Devin Achane, Waddle, and of course Tyreek Hill, maybe not asking or relying on Odell to do so much, he could actually provide a spark to that offense. I would add to what Bryce from Brooklyn said about these last few games in the season. Can they finish it off in the cold weather environment and stuff like that? However, for the Miami Dolphins schedule this season, their last 5 weeks of the season are actually very favorable. They've got the Jets twice, they've got Houston, they've got San Fran, and then they've got Cleveland. 3 of those 5 games are against teams that are in great weather. Jets at home, Houston is in a dome, and of course, and then San Fran at home again. So that's 3 very favorable games in their last 5 games of this season that are in very great weather for them. Now, they do finish the season wrapping it up at Cleveland, at New York. So that will be pretty tough seeing if they can shake those weather element, woes that they've been having these past couple years or so. But that's definitely what it will come down to, in my opinion. But I feel like those last 5 weeks will be key, and I see them being able to conclude that season and wrapping up that division with the number 1 seed.
Cuervo, what's your take up on what you're seeing from the Dolphins? I see another at least 4,000 yards from Tua. I'm seeing Waddle being more involved in the game than he already is. Tyreek getting wide open, as I think you said it, or someone on this show said it. I think it was actually Trey. You can't defend speed. You got the fastest dude out there. What's your take upon what you see in the Dolphins?
Yeah, look, I mean, I got nothing against Miami. I like Miami's roster. I'm a huge Tyreek Hill fan. I do like Jalen Waddle as well. I just think it comes down to like Bryce brought up. When football games start to matter, starting in November, right around Veterans Day weekend, going into Thanksgiving, that's when you start to see the Dolphins kind of slow down a little bit. Remember that 70-point game that everybody fell in love with the Dolphins after that was in October. Actually, that was in September. It was the very beginning of the season. And so everybody was like on the hype train with the Miami Dolphins. And then they just kind of came back to reality. And we all saw what happened after that. But yeah, I just think as the season goes along, like the other guy said, it tends to kind of slows down a lot. The other thing is, I think they got a little older on the roster. I think they downgraded in some places. Losing a guy like a Christian Wilkins is never a good thing, but then you replaced him with Calais Campbell. I mean, that's a huge difference as far as age and from a talent standpoint. Not that Calais Campbell's a scrub. He's just not the guy he once was. And I think you'll see the difference in the run defense of the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to give up a little bit more this year than they did in years past. They lost two main offensive linemen, Robert Hunt and what's the other guy's name? Where's it at? Connor Williams, the center. So, losing two offensive linemen like that, starter, high caliber offensive linemen, that's not going to be good for Tua. So there's some things that Miami lost and they didn't necessarily replace it. And that's why I kind of knocked Miami down a little bit.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to be interested to see how much time Tua is going to have in the pocket to make plays. He's going to have to be a little faster this year than he has in years past with his decision making, and he's going to have to move around the pocket a little bit more because I don't think the protection is going to be what it once was. So you're going to probably see a lot of checking down to Devon A-Chain and whoever's in the backfield, a lot of short dump offs, and I think that's what slows this Miami offense down.
So as I look at it, Mr. Bryce from Brooklyn has the Dolphins in let's see here, in third place. Is that right? They're Bryce from Brooklyn, third place. So that's huge. Now, so that's the way the AFC plays out. Now it's time. Oh, Cuervo has something to say. Go ahead, Cuervo.
Just one little thing, guys. Since we're on the topic of the Dolphins, Sonny, I hate to break your heart here, but if Tua starts to play bad, you won't see Mike White be the savior in Miami because they released him.
Oh,
so Mike White is available on the market now.
Who?
Mike White.
Yeah. Who?
Oh, whatever. You know that's one of your favorite quarterbacks. He loves the Bryce.
Oh yeah, Mike White. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he goes in for one game. It just goes to show when 2 or 3 games at the end of the year on games that don't friggin' matter, you get that up on top of it. It's insane. So,
Cuervo, it's only a matter of time before about around week 4. He starts changing his tune about Mac Jones, and we talking about wanting to start.
Oh, no. I listen, that part hasn't changed, and that didn't change with when we had Tom McManus. I told him I'm not excited. And by the way, them also blanking whoever the hell they played yesterday. I'm not impressed. I don't care. I care in November, December, January, Jacksonville Jaguars. No, I'm not. Listen, I know who Mac Jones is. I've only watched them, so yeah, go ahead.
me, 25-year-old Tom Brady could walk through the door and you wouldn't be impressed. You wouldn't be happy.
No,
You
I'd love
find
to have Tom Brady
something.
as I'd take Tom Brady as a backup quarterback. Oh hell yeah, much better than Mac Jones. Yes, I'll take Tom Brady. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to ask the question: who's going to start? Is it going to be Tom Brady or is it going to be Trevor? So there you go. I'd have to wrestle with that one, as one Trey would say. That having been said, of course, that's the name of the show. Catch us there on for the rest until February. 9 a.m. to noon, right here. Bragging rights. We're going to be the bragging rights pick them. I'll get everybody the information. I'm going to get that set up on Monday. So I need to get everybody's emails. So send me your emails, and we'll see how many it goes in to get a beautiful Bryce. Look at that is so pretty. It's just so pretty, and it works out just really good. Right there. So that is one for Trey Mack. And of course, Trey has to say,
I'll let you say it. Go ahead.
oh, okay. All right. He says I just have to change the year for next year, for this upcoming season is what he's saying. So we all know he's full of it.
Is that a picture of Dez Bryant against Green Bay?
Yeah.
Look, we don't talk
Still
about
not
that
a catch,
Roman here
but
in Dallas, man. That's touchy. That's a touchy subject. Right?
Yeah, still not a catch. I'm telling you right now. Based
Sonny,
upon the
real
rules.
quick, I'm just curious.
Have
we done? I'm curious. Have you done the NFC East yet?
Next week. It's the only one we're doing. So that's going to be fun.
Listen, you can count me in for that show.
All right. So, all right. So he's penciled in already. We got him all set.
Next Sunday, Bryce. Next Sunday.
Yes. Next Sunday is the time that we're going to do that. I can't wait for it. But now we got everything covered. Okay. It is now time to get into yes, go ahead, Trey.
I'll say just FYI, and I've already gone on record about saying this. Dallas goes 6-11 this year, so I've already made my claim for what the Dallas is going to do. How the rest of the division does will be interesting now.
Well, we'll figure that out and bring that in. So that's next week. Don't give us any more information. Now we're going to go to the only division that matters to one. The fine co-host of this program. It's the only division that matters. And for the Chicago Bears. Now, I was going to just go ahead and do our regular. Okay. And I would stop at the team. I started the team that I think is at the bottom of this division. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let Cuervo be the one that starts this. Cuervo, I want you to start off with the team that you think is going to end up last within this division.
Hold on, Cuervo. I just want you to notice, Cuervo, he couldn't even hide his grin. Look at him. He's been waiting all week to talk about this division. He can't even hide it.
I've been waiting 3 weeks. I mean, so
wait all year for this.
Yeah,
I waited all year because I want to hear week 1 Cuervo gearing up for this, for how the Bears are going to retake the North, and how the old days of the Packers when this thing is all over with. Although that didn't work out well last year, but don't worry about that.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
So that's what that being said. All right, in this division, you got the as well Packers. Who do you have last in this division? I don't think too many people are going to argue with your point.
Green Bay Packers are going to finish last.
Green Bay Packers finishing.
No, I'm kidding. I think a blind squirrel even knows that the Minnesota Vikings will be last in this division.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought we were going off the rails already.
Yeah. That would have been fun. But there you go. Here's the schedule. Now, I don't even know.
With me, Bryce.
I don't even think this prediction is even good. I don't know. And listen, I don't want to say McCarthy was the savior. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. I don't know about McCarthy being the savior, but he was definitely the guy that was going to be next. After you get rid of a Kirk Cousins, you can say whatever you want. Yes, I've always liked Kirk Cousins. He hasn't been able to get up over the hump there in Miami. He's going to try to do it in Atlanta. But okay, so now you got to replace him. See, this is different. This is not Aaron Rodgers. This is not Drew Brees. This is not Tom Brady. This is not Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so you can go with the thinking, and that's what I do. The difference between a backup and your rookie, you might as well go with your rookie, especially understanding where your team is. And as far as that was concerned, that's what I was looking at as far as that, how they're going to do. I mean, so you get McCarthy. He is your guy. You get him, the 10th pick of the season. There he is putting on his hat. But I thought it was an actually pretty good pick based upon just kind of like that pocket passer guy that, that Sonny's got a lot of love for. So that being said, it is the Vikings. I've got them in 4th place. I'm very interested to hear what Bryce thought of the Vikings before the injury to J.J. McCarthy. So compared to where they were now, because McCarthy was definitely the sweet tooth coming in.
I would not have drafted J.J. McCarthy as high as they did. Okay. First and foremost, I'm right there with Cuervo. I got the Minnesota Vikings finished last in this division. I had them before the injury. Definitely have them after the injury. I mean, you're going to go in with Sam Darnold as your quarterback. McConnell is a offensive-minded coach. That team is going to have to play now. To Dollar Bill's point, he said the East, there's going to be a lot of close games, a lot of tight games. The Minnesota Vikings are going to have to play complementary football and win close, tough games to have any type of consistency because, quite frankly, they don't have the pedigree at quarterback right now to keep up. I mean, look, Caleb Williams is a rookie. We don't know how he's going to do, but the pedigree is there as a first pick. Right now, Sam Darnold's your quarterback, and we see what his career has been. He's played more like a backup. They just don't have – they've got the receiver and some of the weapons, but they just don't have the offense to hang. They're going to have to play complementary football. They really need their coaches to step up and scheme guys open and game plan on the right blitzes and have them playing with the right mindset to even have a chance to compete in the division that's gotten better. I got them last.
Dollar Bill, in looking at the Vikings, you've got arguably the best wide receiver on your football team. Now, Sam Darnold is going to be, the recipient of that. And listen, you go back and take a look at Sam Darnold's career. He has not necessarily had the best wide receivers to throw the ball to. Now he gets the best. So now we're going to find out, can Sam Darnold live up, first of all, to his draft pick? That's number one, right? Because that guy got picked real high. And can he become the quarterback that draft position demands you to be throughout your career?
We're talking about the same Sam Darnold, the small-handed quarterback, the Sam Darnold that had all these turnover problems dating back to his days back at USC. That same Sam Darnold that is on his 4th NFL team in 6 years, Sam Darnold, I don't think the Vikings are going to be getting much from that guy. I had him in 4th before the injury to J.J. McCarthy. I had him in 4th after the injury to J.J. McCarthy. I do expect some semblance of better from Sam Darnold just because he's going to be throwing to, like you highlighted, Sonny, the best wide receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson. All you have to do is really just put the ball in his hands, whether it's a screen, whether it's a slant, whether it's a drag coming across the middle. Just put the ball in his hands and he can make a whole lot of stuff happen. It's more than he's probably ever seen from a wide receiver position. As the screen is highlighting, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Justin Jefferson. And I don't see it going down just because Sam Darnold is that quarterback. He didn't have high quarterback play last season after Kirk Cousins went down midway in between the seasons. So I do honestly think that Sam Darnold is an upgrade from the backups that Minnesota suffered from last season. So, in that regard, I still feel like the Vikings will still finish fourth. They had a lot of key losses this offseason. No Alexander Madison, no Daniil Hunter, a couple other pieces that are going as well. Jordan Hicks as that middle linebacker in that defense, he's going. So I expect not just the offensive side having some woes, but their defense having some woes as well, and just probably not even being able to stop a nosebleed. This defense will probably be bottom five.
Yeah, and that's where I was worried about them as far as the defense was concerned. As the Vikings, you can say whatever you want. You know, they got the former head coach of the Dolphins and worked out with the Steelers as well. Brian Flores running that defense, and you always got to give Brian Flores, I think, an opportunity to be good defensively. But it's just how tired they'll be from being out on the football field all day long. So Cuervo, taking a look at the Vikings, I thought they did really good, understanding that they got their guy. You know, you got the Justin Jeffersons, you got the wide receiver, but they also went ahead and grabbed up their guy. Wrong one. This one, I'll talk about that in a second. But they also went up and got this guy, a guy that was definitely going to help them in the running game. So they have a running game, they have a passing game. Real good setup for if you are a rookie quarterback going into this season, Cuervo.
Yeah. I mean, had he played, you know, he would have been going into a good situation. Listen, I kind of feel for the Vikings, and I got a lot of friends that are Vikings fans, and they already feel deflated. And,
Yep.
and it's not just because of the McCarthy injury. There's a lot of unfortunate things that have happened to this football team just this offseason alone. You know, McCarthy goes down. They draft a rookie corner, and yeah, I mean, just the worst thing that you could think of that could happen. He dies in a car accident.
Yep.
You had Jordan Addison get a DUI not too long ago. So it's just like this string of unfortunate events that happen to this Vikings team. I just don't know, you know, how they're going to rally around each other. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of adversity already, and they're barely done with their preseason. So I'm just going to be interested to see how Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, is going to keep this team together. Kind of reminds me of what happened to the Bears last year. You know, they had to fire two coaches, you know, in season. You know, defensive coordinator goes. There's rumors that the FBI raided the Bears headquarters. I don't know if that's true or not. Then you had another one that got fired. So it's kind of like that, you know, they had to go through that adversity of getting those coaches fired, and Matt Eberflus found a way to kind of keep it together, and they finished the way they did. So I'm going to be really interested to see how O'Connell, this is going to be the most challenging season he's had thus far, but and it's not even close.
Yeah, and the defense we're talking, you know, I was bringing that up. You know, they have got to get better. If you're the Vikings, known for your defense, you've got to get better than this. Okay, you've got to get to the quarterback. You've got to put pressure on him for the quarterbacks to make bad decisions, to let your actual corners and your safeties do what they do. So I'll take this to Trey Mack. You know, that defense is going to be, you know, key to this one, because if they're going to be in games, they're going to be close all year long, more so than going, winning big.
So let me get this straight. They go get Sam Darnold, who is pretty much the David Carr of this generation. But yet Colin Kaepernick is still a free agent.
Okay. All right.
That's what the spread say. It ain't happening.
And I know Bryce is agreeing with me on this one because, I mean, you're talking about talent, right? Now, clearly the politic nonsense is still out there, but I mean, it's been died down since then. So why not bring in a quarterback that, you know, isn't as beat up as Sam Darnold? That'd be one thing. And, you know, and just, you know, work him into the system better, because Sam Darnold, here's the thing. he's at that point right now, and a lot of quarterbacks who get beat up in the NFL fall this way. David Carr was one of them. When you touch the guy in the backfield, he'll fall down, and that's your sack. I mean, that's unfortunate because they're tired of getting hit. They're tired of laying on their ass. So, for the Vikings not to really upgrade that position, especially with Kirk Cousins and McGar- the rookie who got knocked out. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, dude, the UFL has better quarterbacks out there right now. As sad as that is. I mean, hell, you can find an arena quarterback that could probably do a little bit better for the Vikings than Sam Darnold. But yeah, to me, that just shows how lazy their front office is right now.
Well, and that was the point, because you take a look at that, there a guy that's still available, Ryan Tannehill's out there. That would have been the idea. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Ryan Tannehill, but you take away from last year, this guy has come back. I'm not saying he's the end all of getting all, but as a backup quarterback, that's the guy that you want. You don't necessarily want him to start.
You got him in the Hall of Fame already. Him and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hey, no, I'm telling you, the Rams got the backup quarterback in the NFL, and you guys can laugh all you want. You know that's correct, and so that looking at that kind of thing, and hey, Bryce, don't give me this already. I don't. But
that's another great shot of Bryce right there.
Yes, I know.
That's a good shot of you.
Yeah, this one too.
Well, that's the original. That's
the
original. That's the original.
So, but I say whatever you want. That kind of situation where they're coming from. You're. I'll give this to you, Trey. They definitely dropped the ball, and that has to go squarely up on the front office of the Miami or the Vikings.
Yeah, I don't think the Miami Dolphins had anything to do with that, but okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
But no, I mean, look, I think we all agree they're probably the fourth best team in the division, and that's probably really stretching it. But I mean, they have one of those years. I know Dallas has had this one when Dak went down, we got stuck with Andy Dalton for the remainder of the year. Where else they're going, here we go. So they're already starting the season off with here we go. So that's never a good thing. I mean, at least that gave him at least six solid games before that. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna stay with Sam Darnold, because again, he's a turnover machine and he's a sack machine too. So those are two things that go against your offense big time. So yeah, I mean, I think all three other teams in that division are penciled that game as a win, but that's at least 2 wins from that year. So that's 8 losses or that's 6. I'm sorry, I'm bad with math.
6, yeah.
That's 6 losses for them. So the rest of the way, good luck with all that, because there's a lot of other teams out there, like the 49ers, like whoever the hell else they got on there, that are going to just destroy them this year. Because, again, they're giving up how many sacks last year?
Their defense wasn't doing well, but they did give up a lot of sacks.
Right.
As far as that's concerned, they need to get more sacks. They took 47 of them. It's way too many. As far as that's concerned, as far as the offense. So you are absolutely right.
And guess what? We're going to hear halfway through the season how upset Justin Jefferson is that he's still with the Vikings.
Hell, you might hear that after week 1. So depending upon that. So looks like everybody has the Vikings within last place of this division. That leads us to the third position in the NFC North. And I'm going to swing it to Cuervo to figure out what team Cuervo has in third place within this division. I've already got your Vikings already written down in fourth place there for you.
Now it's going to get interesting.
Now it's going to get it. You're absolutely right, Bryce. First of all, so live.
Here's where the Packers slide.
He don't need to be on this show anymore. for picking the Packers in first. He can go find somewhere else to watch the show. No, I'm joking. Listen, guys, I'm going to do this, and it's going to pain me. The team I have finishing in third is my team, the Chicago Bears. The reason I got them finishing third is not because I don't like anything that they've done in the offseason. I love just about everything they've done in the offseason. Hard Knocks is painful to watch, but it is my team, so I'm watching. But the reason I got them finishing third, guys, it's simple. I want to see them do it. I need you to prove it. We can talk and hype it up all we want about, they drafted Caleb Williams and they brought in Romo Dunze and they brought, they traded for Keenan Allen and they re-signed Jalen Johnson, all that good stuff, right? So a lot of good things happened in the offseason for the Bears. Now I want to see it equal wins. And until that happens, I'm not going to crown them, as Danny Green said. I'm not going to crown them as division champions. I'm not even going to put them in second yet because the two teams ahead of them have proven themselves, have made the playoffs. So I want to see my team do it.
I was looking at this schedule, Cuervo, and I firmly this. I don't even know who this person is, but I grabbed it up. I think the Commanders and the Cardinals could be wins. So if you did that, that would put them at 10-7.
Yeah, this guy don't know what he's talking about.
But at the same time, there's some other ones on there. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how they figure out the wins. This team's going to go through some growing pains in reality. You got your rookie quarterback, but he is a rookie. Say whatever you want until they prove it to me. In a real football game. I'm never excited about preseason, although I've watched more preseason than I ever have, just like Cuervo, stated last week. This was the first year because I want to see, will they be able to live up to the hype? And when they got this kind of hype, I don't believe in the hype. So I'll take that over to Bryce from Brooklyn, taking a look at the Chicago Bears. What's your take upon what you're seeing, how they're getting set for the season, going in with the rookie and with the coach? You can say whatever you want. I don't care. People said he's not on the hot seat. He is on the hot seat. But I don't think it's to where they have to make the play. They got to at least show management something that he can lead this to the next level.
Yeah, Bryce, what you got to say?
It is a pivotal time in the Chicago Bears history in this organization. First and foremost, let me say, pains me to say this, I agree with Sonny Clark. Eberflus is on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. He better show that he can coach this quarterback up and improve this team. I think the Bears are done, kind of. They've made their move at quarterback. That's all. We don't need to relitigate that. They got rid of Fields. Williams is here. Williams is the guy. They are invested in him. He's starting out the gate. All eyes are on Eberflus now. He gets a year to show, can he guide this team to success? Is he the coach for the present and the future? So there's that. When I look at the Bears have quietly started to surround their quarterback and their offense with more talent. Cole Kmet, solid tight end. I don't think Cole Kmet is like, when I think of upper echelon tight ends or the top tight ends, he's not there yet, but that's a good player. That's a good tight end. That's a good weapon. DJ Moore's a top receiver. I love DJ Moore. I believe Keenan Allen is at the Bears, correct, Cuervo?
Yes.
That's a good pick. There's a lot of talent, and the rookies look good in the preseason, but the regular season is going to be a whole new animal. They better use the benefit of not having any film on the rookie and being able to come at teams. I don't know, maybe trying to showcase some of the things that Caleb Williams does well in the passing game. And use that to surprise some teams. And they better find the run game. I want to see Eberflus be committed to handing the football off and putting the quarterback in good situations. If they want to try to contend, they're going to have to run the football very, very well consistently. That's going to take pressure off the young quarterback, be able to open up the lanes of the game and let him use his accuracy and some of his athleticism to be able to push the ball downfield. So there can be an opportunity to get better. There's a lot of growing pains here. I think particularly the defense, we need to see it defensively. So I agree with Cuervo. He is the expert on this division. I think the Bears are taking good steps. I know at the time I didn't feel they should have traded Justin Fields, but they did. And so the rookie is here. We'll see if he's big enough for the moment this year. But I got that team finishing third in the division, Cuervo.
Interestingly enough, okay, you go get your guy, right? You get your quarterback. So you're solidified there. But what else did they do in the draft as far as that is concerned? Well, I got news for you. I think they had a great draft. And it's hard for me to say that because you take a look at this football team, they don't do hardly anything right. Was Caleb the right decision when it comes to drafting? Was it the right decision? We're going to find out. But they're surrounding him with a wide receiver, protecting him with it. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, that dude from Yale, that is one big dude, and you're going to have to get around this guy. The only thing that I had a problem with as far as this draft is taking a punter in the 4th round, maybe in the 5th or 6th round, grab it up. But Taylor, he's a badass out of Iowa. And then you say whatever you want about Booker. They got him out of Kansas. That is a steal. Look what he's. Yeah. Now, granted, this is preseason, but not too many rookies are going out and doing what he has done in the preseason. So, Austin Booker, you want to talk about a value pick out of the draft? I think that is huge.
Now, let me ask you. Can I ask you guys a question real quick? You put that slide back up, Sonny.
The draft?
Yeah, about Booker. The one on Booker.
Oh, yes, there it is.
Yes. So which number sticks out to you guys? I want to get y'all's opinion on this. Which number sticks out the most to you guys?
Definitely those quarterback pressures.
Yeah, the pressures. Yeah. I mean, the other ones are great. Don't get me wrong, but now they're going to have to worry about protecting their quarterback from this guy. He's got 7 pressures on. Now, granted, these are the 2nds and 3rds, but still, this guy's getting to the quarterback. Not only that, he gets the tackles and the 2.5 sacks. That's up on top of it. The tackles for loss is huge too. I like that. You getting in there, but yes, it's the pressures. I think that is the big story in that one, Cuervo.
Okay, well, I just wanted to. You guys are seeing the same thing I'm seeing then, because everybody likes to focus on the pretty the numbers like sacks, stuff like that. But those pressures is what makes the difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to see from an edge rusher.
Yep.
Because that's what creates those takeaways.
So, interestingly enough, Mr. Trey Mack, when you're looking at the Bears, I mean, there's other things that are going on beside Caleb Williams, and
Yeah, lift that arm up a little bit for me, Trey.
Yes, on the mission from God. There we go. And so, Trey, what's your take up on the Bears?
Well, I agree with Cuervo on one thing. Hard Knocks is a hard watch right now. It is not. I mean, the Giants had a better one than the Bears. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him finishing 3rd as well. I don't think the coach is in the hot seat though. It's hard to put a cut. Now, I understand why. I understand why you would say it, because this is the second rookie quarterback he's had to take on, and he better do something with him. But as Sonny will point out, rookie quarterbacks are shit in the first year. So if he's going to be shit in the first year, that falls on the coach. Then he's gone. Then you're going to put a new coach in the head of a young rookie quarterback, and then you have Justin Herbert all over again. So, and nobody wants that. So, I don't think they should put him on the hot seat this year. Next year for sure, if they don't, because we all got them finishing third, which is still better than last year. When you posted their schedule for this year, that 8-9, 9-8, I could see that. I can see them alternating wins and losses all year long.
Exactly.
You know, I think you know, like I can see them beating the Vikings, but I see them losing to the Lions. And then I see them beating the Seahawks, and I see them losing to the Packers. I mean, it's like every week is like, you know, in our pick'em league, we better pick them on the right week, otherwise, you know, we're just going to screw up our entire picks.
Fully agree.
So they're going to be that team this year that we have to look at and go, is this the week or is this not the week? And you know, I don't hate their draft at all. In fact, I think punters, especially because they're utilized a lot more now in the NFL than anything else, because a lot of teams turn the ball over after 3 downs. So
that dude's a weapon. He's a weapon.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right?
I'm just saying they could have still got him later, but I get what you're saying.
But at the same time, I mean, look at the Cowboys. Look at our place kicker, who can kick a 66-yard field goal. And again, it meant nothing, but still, I mean, he's a weapon out there, and he's putting kickers on notice, saying, look, we could be a very valuable player on these teams, and not just your, well, he's a kicker, just go out and get another one. I mean, you got to be a weapon, and that, I think guys like that are going to really. I mean, he kind of reminds me of who the Chiefs had back in the day. The Chiefs had that kid out of Lake Islands, who I played against in high school, and he had a great career for the Chiefs for how long? Like 14 years. I can't think. Dawson, I think was his name. Yep. But so I mean, definitely, I think the Bears are going to be a tough out.
Yes.
But they're going to alternate a lot of wins and losses this year. Will they fall in the 8-9, or will they fall in the 9-8? That 9-8 can actually get them into a playoff berth, at least a wild card.
It could.
Maybe.
It could.
Now again, you still have to talk about the Lions and the Packers on that as well, because they're going to go before the Bears. So I'm a little upset that Cuervo didn't get all hyped up and give us that Bear Super Bowl chant that we were all waiting for.
Never done it. I've known him in for 15, close to 15 years now. He's never done it.
Look, hey, I'm just saying, me and Bryce, we don't communicate on Facebook at all that much, but me and him are on the same idea of thinking, here goes Cuervo. He's gonna go batshit crazy and go, dude, the Bears, they're the team of the future, Super Bowl or bust, all that crap. Instead we get, well, guys, they're gonna be third. And I'm like, such a letdown. Such a letdown.
No way. I took that bubble and I popped it. That's what I did.
In Cuervo's defense, he is, as the fine co-host of this show, he is pretty much, he balances out. He definitely will go crazy, particularly with giving his motivational speeches, have you ready to run through a wall. But he's actually pretty level-minded when it comes to the football. He doesn't go like too out there, except when it comes to the Randy Moss nonsense.
Yeah,
that's right. Over the top.
Couldn't be more wrong in that case.
Here we go. Here we go.
But he's pretty level-headed, so I'll give him credit for that.
Hey, just once I want to hear him go Super Bowl or bust chant, then like saying, what's your pick? Oh, I got the other team winning this week.
All right. That's all.
You talking about in the Super Bowl? I would never pick against my team in the Super Bowl.
Well, at least we get one pick.
There's plenty of time. Let's see, because if the Bears get off to a pretty good start, not elite but pretty good, Wait till that like first division game comes, or that Packers Bears game.
Yeah, the
comes.
Packers Bears.
Yeah, so no,
Hey,
I'm glad you brought that up, Bryce, because if you guys look at the Bears' schedule, that's the interesting thing about it. Their first division game is not till week 11.
Yeah,
That is unheard of.
Yeah.
That's their
And
first
and these are
division
very winnable games. These are not games where they're just like overmatched in all of them.
Yeah,
Fully.
so
Fully.
it's going to be
Bryce.
important. It's going to be important for the Bears to start off fast.
Definitely.
Bryce.
You know, if
Get
they
out
can-
of the gate.
Bryce,
Yeah.
we see Cuervo now with the Bears shirt, but come divisional week, the hat will be on too.
Oh, that'll be on.
Oh, he's got a listen. He's got a hat within hand's length right now. I'm just telling you. But that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Let's bring in Dollar
well, you might
Bill.
get a little bit more too.
Yeah. So that being said, let's get Dollar Bill's take up on it. Now the Bears, they're getting set. They're getting ready to play. They're trying to find their identity, and there's some guys that are on the bubble. You know, as far as who they're going to take, who they're not, and will these guys be the ones that can make their football team and make a difference week in
I
and
really
week
like
out?
Hardy, by the way.
When you take a look at your football team, I will ask Dollar Bill, what's your take up on the Bears this season?
Well, from the sounds of it, I am a whole lot higher on Cuervo's team than he is on it. So,
Oh man,
yeah, Cuervo, you got your own team finishing third in the division. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
man, I gotta
have
see it. I gotta see it first.
I actually have these guys making that Houston Texans transition this season. I'm not gonna lie, I see that. I see big things from the Chicago Bears this season, and I'm about to tell you why. They have done exponentially well in surrounding their rookie quarterback with talent. That's one of the main reasons why rookie quarterbacks don't come in right away and succeed. It's because general managers, head coaches, they don't set their quarterback up to succeed. And they've done exactly that. They've gotten Keenan Allen in free agency. They went ahead and traded for him. Got Roma Dunze, as you already listed in the draft. Drafted him a couple picks after Caleb Williams. They got Swift at running back. He's going to be a great check down running back in an already backfield that is talented and filled with running back talent, Roshan Johnson, as well as Khalil Herbert. So you got a three-headed monster in the backfield, a three-headed wide receiver, and on your outside, as well as Cole Kmet and a veteran tight end like
Gerald Everett.
Jared Everett, exactly, that they just brought in. So this offense is going to be very great, as well as bringing in guys like Kevin Byard and Jonathan Owens to help out your secondary on the defensive side. So I actually see a very big transition for the Chicago Bears, and I think they have the potential from finishing worst to first. And their worst, honestly, wasn't even that bad, finishing with their 7-10 record that they did have. They weren't too far off from finishing second in the division, because the Green Bay Packers were sitting at 6-8 prior to the final 3 weeks of the season, and they went on that hot win streak, finished the season out on the 3-game win streak, and they got into the playoffs. I could see something potentially like that happening to the Bears. They do have a lot of games that could be toss-ups. Those 2 games that I saw on the schedule that was listed above, they had losses to the Commanders and losses to the Cardinals. Those are actually wins I think that they could take and win, and that would put them at a 10-win team. So I think that this team actually is going to have a lot of high hopes.
Wait,
like Bryce from Brooklyn said.
No. Hold on.
Like
Before we go,
with Chicago.
you said
Go
you're
ahead, Bryce. Go ahead, Bryce.
So where do you have the Bears in the division?
Worst to first, baby. Worst to
first.
You got them winning the NFC North?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So somebody's believing the Hard Knock side.
I haven't even watched Hard Knocks.
Dollar Bill, hold on. Where are you located?
I'm located in Dallas.
You're in Dallas. So you must have driven over to Sonny Clark's house, gotten a whole eighth of his drugs, took him back to your place, and tapped out.
Yeah, something like that. Well, maybe a little bit later.
I was
but worst to first. But
worst to first.
Bryce, you're on mute, so let me bring you in. You're on mute.
Yes.
So where do you put the Bears? Do you I hold on. I think I wrote it down. No, I haven't wrote yours down about the Bears. Where are you going with the Bears?
I got the look. I can two things can be true. I acknowledge that Dollar Bill made a good case for his point. They have brought in a lot of talent. Dollar Bill, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Keeping it real.
Even let's just say all that is true. The pieces they brought in are ready to go. Not only is it still a rookie quarterback, not only do they still have to gel, have they really done enough on defense to really sit in week in?
We had these same questions about the Texans.
Because it's not just going against – so you're saying going against Jordan Love, going against the Detroit offense that
Jordan Love really proven?
They
were questioning Jordan Love midway between last season. They were questioning if Jordan Love was really that guy. It wasn't until the last 4 or 5 games of the season that he proved he could take that team.
I don't disagree with that, but we can't sit here and say that Jordan Love didn't come on and show what he showed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
Who's to say he doesn't take a step back?
And we can't sit here and say that Jordan Love or Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so,
yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, and we can't also look. We may not think the LaFleur. Look, we may not think LaFleur is top tier coach, but I like to look at coach and quarterback. What's the advantage there? We've got to right now say Eberflus and Caleb Williams. I'm higher on Caleb Williams than I am Eberflus. No disrespect, Cuervo.
So who's going to get fired?
Ryan.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
No. This is where I thought that the Bears should end up. I really did. This is where because the expectations are one thing. Reality is a total different thing. And yes, I'm tough on rookie quarterbacks. Let me rephrase that. I'm not tough on rookie quarterbacks. I'm realistic about them. Okay. And having he's tough. Maybe a little tough, depending on who it is. But if you expect Caleb Williams to come in,
bullish about it, but okay.
Yeah, within this division, with the Lions, with the Packers, not necessarily the Vikings. We all know where they're at. But right now, I'm just going to say it. They can't carry the Lions or the Packers jock right now. That having been said, if they do gel quickly, we can maybe see the Bears maybe getting up second. But that's not always the case. But as far as Eberflus is concerned, okay, this is what needs to happen. He's on the hot seat. Okay, the number, I don't know if you want to go over or under. I think the over and under 7 games for him to stay. But how they lose games is probably going to be the more interesting thing about his job staying there in Chicago. If they get their asses blown out, that guy is gone. But I don't know. Cuervo, I mean, you're shaking your head no, but if they get their asses blown out, do you think that they stay with Eberflus as the head coach of this football team?
Cuervo, is Dollar Bill a more diehard Bears fan right now? I need to hear your response to that, because that might be one of the wildest takes. Wow.
I know, and I appreciate the love, Dollar Bill. I've never heard anybody have more love for my own team, or have somebody else have more love for my own team. Because it's the Chicago Bears. People outside the city, there's not, people don't care for the Bears that much. But look, Sonny, I don't put a number on it. I don't put a number on you got to win this many games for him to stay in Chicago. First and foremost, I 100% think that he is on the hot seat. I just think they need to show improvement, whether that's 9 wins, 10 wins, whatever it's going to take. If Ryan Poles believes that Eberflus is the guy that can continue to take them to another level, then he's going to stay. But the flexibility at the same time, the flexibility that Ryan Poles has is This is his first head coach as the GM. I'm a firm believer that a lot of times GMs will get 2, sometimes if you're lucky, 3 head coaches in your tenure as a GM before they start pointing the finger at you, aside from roster improvement. But head coach hiring, you get 2 at a minimum before they say, okay, you obviously can't find the right guy, you gotta go. And that's how
Jerry Jones had 7.
Well, he's also he can't fire himself. Hey, come on, man.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Well, he's also insane too, so you got that going.
He is insane. That is
most definitely, very much insane.
But interestingly enough, as far as that is concerned, twofold when you get your guy. Okay, when you get your guy, the number 1 draft pick, that pick is an expectation of changing your franchise, period. It doesn't matter what team it is. And, that is the guy that you are expecting to change and turn your franchise around to be better. Now, again, the reality of the sense is the Bears winning 7 games is a successful season. The other 10 games, how they lose those games are going to be the thing that is going on. Because you can get 7 wins against trashy football teams like the Vikings this year. Okay, you can get that all day long. It's how you actually compete in games that are close. What you do in certain situations against teams that are either just as good as you or better than you. Okay, and if you don't show up, guess what's going to happen?
You're not going to amount to jack squat.
That's where it comes down to where the Bears got to do. And third place is not disrespecting the Bears. It's just a reality of the sense is that, guess what? Yes. It's all new, and you got to figure it out.
Look, here's what, real quick, here's what makes it more pliable to me, what Dollar Bill's saying. If you get the Bears to defense that plays over its head and plays a little bit further along than what they are, and they're going to be committed to running the football and play complementary football, not just look at, okay, we brought in all this talent on offense, but can they play complementary football to all of the different pieces that they have? Then maybe that jump that Dollar Bill's talking about can possibly happen, but you're asking a lot for the Bears to make that jump when you still have Dan Campbell and the Lions, who have really been a surprise the last couple of years and have played the type of complementary football the Bears are going to have to play. And you still have Green Bay with Jordan Love ascending, and with that team kind of in a place where they're looking to ascend as well. I just feel Dollar Bill is going way too out of pocket with these free agent signings, man. You got to pump the brakes.
Yeah, hold on. Trey's wants to hop in. I got you mute. Go ahead, Trey.
Bryce, look, I don't blame Dollar Bill, okay? Hard Knocks is a make or break for some guy, for some teams. I get all that, okay? I mean, look. Hard Knocks made the Giants look unbeatable, although they didn't do shit in the draft. So, I mean, it's all good. I mean, we watch them lose Saquon Barkley, and they go, we'll be fine. I mean, it happens. Okay.
It happens. So
I think Dollar Bill may have been infected with Sonny Clark-itis a little bit.
Look at the numbers, guys. Look at the numbers.
Quick, okay. Get your shots now.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, you want to talk numbers, Dollar Bill? Let's just take a look at it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I found this so interesting, and I'll tell you the reason why. Is against the top 25 in 5 starts. This guy was abysmal. And this is not even the NFL, okay? This is where the speed is faster. You got to catch up. You got to realize that it's quicker. And he has not been, worth a nickel against the top 5. Anybody can look good against,
Sonny.
My ass state, university. I mean,
Sonny.
what he does in the top 25 is the big spot on this one there. Go ahead,
Sonny. Clearly, he was playing football in hot weather states. Now he's in a cold weather state. This will work for him, okay?
We've talked about that, with other quarterbacks, as far as what they do in the Sunshine State, as far as Jared Goff was a big one.
Listen, in California, weed's legal. In Chicago, not so much. Okay,
So, yeah.
I mean, it happens. Okay, look, he's going to be in Chicago. It's a hard-nosed city. Look, Cuervo. I mean, in all honesty, Cuervo knows this better than anybody. If you're not going to be good in Chicago, you're done.
Yep.
They're not going to hang on to you for dear life. Okay? Just because you're a first-round draft choice, that don't mean they're going to keep you. They'll keep you for the duration of your first contract and say, you know what, you didn't work out here. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Look,
Mitchell Trubisky.
And nobody gets rid of first-round quarterbacks better than this team right now. We are the best at that, all right?
Hey, you got to be good at the best.
Is weed legal? Is weed legal in Texas?
No, Oklahoma it is though.
Oh, okay, I'm about to say that might explain. Dollar bills kind of.
Man, y'all gonna be
right
eating
there
it
with
come
this
November, come December. Whoo! I can't wait. I can't wait.
guy.
All right, I threw this up.
Window.
I threw this up for Cuervo to give a quick opinion about. Then I'll come to you, Trey. This is your backup, okay? He's not playing very bad at all. Again, preseason, but just a quick take on what you got with your backup quarterback.
Listen, man, I'm a big fan of the secret agent, man. I think he's a guy that he made a couple starts last year when Justin Fields went down, and I think he filled in just fine. So if Caleb goes down for whatever reason, he's a guy that can come in and command that offense. That's quarterback. So, he's a fan favorite in Chicago. People like what they saw from Bajan, and I like the situation they have when it comes to the backup.
Very good. All right, so worst to first from Mr. Dollar Bill. Everybody else has them, right.
And
there.
I hope Dollar Bill's right.
You better hope.
I hope he's right.
You better hope. So that being said, Cuervo, you're in command of this division. We are now in the second place. That it's either going to be those ugly green Packers or it's going to be those pretty blue Lions. Who do you have finishing second in this division?
Filthy, disgusting cheese on their head. Yeah, Green Bay will finish second. I don't think they're ready for Detroit yet. The only thing that would favor Green Bay is that Detroit's got to play the division champion schedule. They got to play all the division champs, in the other divisions. So that could favor Green Bay. I don't want it to, but it could. So you look at the schedule right there, and they got them finishing 10-7. I can see that. I could see 10-7. If they get lucky, 11-6. I hope they go 0-17, but we all know that's not going to happen. But yeah, I got Green Bay finishing second. You can't deny what you saw from Jordan Love last year, especially towards the end of the season.
Yep.
It's just going to be a matter of is it for real, or was it a smoke show with what you saw at the end of that season. And the other thing is, as hyped up as the nation is or whatever about Jordan Love and that offense. If I'm a Packer fan, I'm worried about the defense, and not only the defense, but I look at their overall the depth of this team. I know they put up a show yesterday, putting up 30 on the Baltimore Ravens. You go back to the last week, putting up a big whopping 2 points against the Denver Broncos. Mm-hmm. It just at that moment it made me think that my first thought about that was if any of their starters go down, this team is screwed. Obviously, if Jordan Love goes down, they're going to be screwed. But I'm talking if an offensive lineman goes down, if a defensive lineman goes down, if Jair Alexander goes down at the corner spot, if Josh Jacobs, if he goes down, what do they have behind those starters? And that I think if you're a Packer fan, you should be concerned about that.
I think there's a reason for that, Cuervo, and I'm going to put it up right here. This is why. I get exactly what you're saying. And because if you're going down, you're getting guys with no experience. Guys, week in, week out, hitting the football field, and they are the youngest team based as of 2 days ago in the NFL right now. They're the youngest, so that means that their experience is probably not going to be set and ready to go to as far as knowing exactly what you're going to get from week in to week out. There, go ahead, Trey. I heard you.
No, I didn't say anything, but no, I'm just going to say, as correct as you are about that, Cuervo, I got him finishing first. Because I think Detroit has had so much goodwill thrown their way this last year. They had the draft there. A lot of the news media fell in love with Detroit. And that's a recipe for disaster for the next year. That's where, well, damn, we're wrong again, And I think you still got Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell, but he's a risk taker, and not every risk he took worked. Now most did, but not every one. He's bound to screw up to the point to where every chance he takes that risk, it's gonna fail.
He can't be that meathead coach that wants to go for it on 4th down every time.
No, he can't. And the thing is that the Packers can play as conservatively as they want. They'll still win a game. If it's 13-10, they'll still win it. Detroit will sit there at, being down by 13-10 and be at 4th and 25, and they'll go for it because they have to.
Right.
But instead of playing correct football, I love Detroit. I do. I love their coach. I love their players. I love everything about them, except I think this is the year of the drop-off for them. Not to the point where they're going to go to the worst, because clearly we know who's going to be the worst in this division. But I think they're going to fall to second. Now, what they do in the playoffs might be different because they might actually control their destiny in the playoffs more so than the Packers. But if we're talking regular season, if we're talking divisional wins and divisional champions, I got the Packers doing it this year by maybe a game between them and the Lions. And the Bears are going to be tough. Bears are going to be really, really tough. But they're still the Bears. And right now, the Bears aren't quite who we think they're. As you point out, they're saying, please don't play the clip again. We know who they are right now. Okay? So let's just, how the Packers finished last year was not how the Lions finished last year. You know what I'm saying? And I think
it's
the
a little different.
Yeah, so I think the Lions are going to be that team this year that's going to look at it and go, well, we had a great year last year. We're going to capitalize on all that. But what did you do to capitalize? What moves did you make to really capitalize on that? Whereas the Packers had to look at it and go, we lost our running back. We're getting a young guy. We got a lot of youth on our team. Experience in the games are going to really play a big part in this thing. Like you have the graphic up there, Sonny, about the backups. Yeah, they're going to get a lot of playing time, no doubt about it. All of them are. And the thing is, that's a young team that can gel together.
Yes.
With a quarterback that may not be 100% proven, but he's a good 70% proven right now because he took his hits the first part of last year.
Right.
And he came out winning the playoff game. That's more than I can say about the quarterback of a team that won 12-5 last year for the last 3 years. Okay, so that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and just really quick, because I know you got to walk out because you're right at work. So just really quick on the Lions. What's your take up on the Lions and where you think that they end up as well? So, but I don't want you to feel rushed because you got to go.
Did you not hear what I just said?
I just heard, but I just want you to verify it.
Bryce, did you hear what I said about the Lions?
Hey, I just wanted a little bit more, from you. Good Lord.
I'll say that Dollar Bill, you're brand new to me, and I think you and I are gonna get along great. Although I don't understand why you're missing the R in your name. But you heard what I said about the Lions, right?
I'm about ready to mute this guy. I'm about ready to mute this guy before we get to my. Fine, you got that. Yeah, so you got your set. Very good. Yeah, hang around as long as you can. I'm going to shoot it over to Bryce from Brooklyn because now it's time. You're talking the Green Bay Packers. You know, will they be the team we saw in the last 6 weeks of the season, or are we going to get what we saw in the first part? Maybe get better a little quicker to have a longer good November, December, and January. What's your take upon the Packers?
I'm going to go back to something Dollar Bill said. You know, it is a fair, legit criticism to say, hey, man, Jordan Love, 6-8. He started out, you know, so we can't say. But you have to also look at the trajectory of not only the quarterback, but how that quarterback plays within that system and how it affects the way the team responds to the quarterback.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. Cuervo, I hate to say it. When you look at the Packers overall, their defense, their back end, how Jordan Love's ability to make plays and keep them on schedule can help them stay ahead of the chains. When you bring on Josh Jacobs, a proven running back, who's tough, and I've always liked Josh Jacobs. You add that to the mix with the defensive line the Packers have. Cuervo, I hate to say, they will overtake the Detroit Lions, and they're going to win that division. I think the Lions took a little bit of a step back. I'm with the Podfather. I like the Lions team. I think there's a little bit of lack of depth at receiver and at linebacker that I think the Packers have a little bit more depth. And I feel Detroit's going to be a good team, but they're going to take a step back. And I think the Packers win this division and get out with that first place in the NFC North. I know you don't want to hear it. I know you want to throw your laptop, but sorry, buddy.
Yeah, so.
I think the Packers,
you'll see that from time to time, Dollar Bill.
Yes.
When I'm talking, I've never seen it with Bryce talking, but
that's because I talk too much sense. That's why I talk sense.
Sonny.
I don't talk nonsense like other people on this show. But
Sonny,
right.
If
overall, I think it's the Packers.
Hey, Sonny, if you can, go and post my award again real quick, just to remind everybody.
I need to get to Dollar Bill's opinion about the Packers before I do that again.
Your engraved Des Bryant play? Is that
so, Dollar Bill, you look at the Packers.
Hey, at least I won. Des didn't. So there you
go. So mix it in. You got the Packers. And then mix it in because you got the Lions. You know, I think I hate to admit this. I'm going to do it. So shut up, Trey. I agree with Trey Mack about what the Lions. They've had all the accolades added on to them. They're the best team coming out of all the hype. And here's the reason why I don't believe it, because they've never proven they can do it for more than 1 year ever. Well, maybe when Sanders was there, but outside of that, they've never proved that they can do it for more than 1 year. So that is the reason why I have the Green Bay.
With Sanders there. They never proved it with Sanders there. That's the problem.
Well, no, they proved it with. They've had a couple of good seasons with Sanders there, but I'm talking about doing,
seasons, but not playoff, not playoff. You know, defining seasons. I mean, they had 1 year where they went to the championship game.
Well, I know, but as far as what we're talking about doing it, you know, I want to see them do it. Okay, I've seen them do it with Sanders. They've done it, but now let's see if they can get it done. So intertwine the Packers and the Lions here, number one and number two. What's your take up on what you're seeing with these two teams that almost mirror themselves in reality?
Well, Detroit, they were partying like it was 1993 last season because that was the last time that they actually won the division.
Yep.
So they did make a good offseason addition on their defensive side. They added some pass rushers, adding Marcus Davenport. Coming into the offseason, they didn't necessarily have too many weaknesses top to bottom. They were probably the most complete team when it came to this NFC North. That's why I have them finishing second in the division. I don't see too much of a drop-off from them. I still see them making the playoffs. As for the Packers, I probably have them slipping into that third spot since I do have Chicago finishing first. I just don't see the
Howard Hard Knocks.
same thing that of what I'm gonna get. Again, Trey, I have not watched 1 second of Hard Knocks this year, and I don't even recall the last time I've watched Hard Knocks. Probably when Baker Mayfield and Cleveland Browns were on. Yeah, the Packers. The Packers, man, I just don't see the same of what I'm going to get from them this season of what they had last. I do see a bit of a drop-off in what I'm going to get from the Packers this season. Their schedule, I'm not sure if you guys took a look at it, but it's a little brutal. They've got some matchups that, they start the season with the Eagles, Colts, Titans, Vikings. Taylor's off a little bit toward the middle of the season, but then they kick it back up at the end, and I don't see them finishing as strong as they did last season. Like they did. So
why wouldn't you? Listen, it's the Saints, Vikings, and Bears. Why wouldn't you expect 3 wins for that? Never mind, they'll beat Seattle. I don't even care about that.
Right.
And
those games
the
before.
Lions.
Let's look at those 3 games before. Well, excuse me, those 4 games before the last 3 games of the season. The last 7 game stretch, the 49ers, Dolphins, Lions, those can be a test games of how they will finish the season and how they even want to finish the season in the first place. You lose any combination of 2 to 3 of the games, those 49ers, Dolphins, Lions games, before they finish off with Seahawks, Saints, and Vikings. You could probably see them finishing just calling it a wrap on their season, possibly, potentially based off of those 3 games. So that's why I just definitely see just a little bit of a drop off, just because they had to click at that exact moment that they did last season in order to even have that finish to where they did. Let's say that click doesn't even happen this season like they had last season. That's probably why I would say they will probably be the one team that'll tailor off. I do like their off-season addition of Josh Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs is coming into his 5th season in the league, and he's only played 1 full season once. He's never finished a full season outside of 1 season. It was his all-pro year that he had 1,600 yards. But outside of that, do I know that he can stay healthy for a full 17 games? I don't know that because he hasn't proven that. And A.J. Dillon, yes, he's a very good complementary running back. But if I need him to take over to be my every down guy, I don't know that I can rely on A.J. Dillon to be that.
That's why we need a fiery first week of the season deal from Cuervo, just to fire up the Bears enough to get that first round draft choice. That's what we're looking for, sir. So Cuervo, you got him in 3rd, but come on, deep down, the Bears can do this. Come on, deep down in your little Bears heart, the Bears are gonna be like a dollar bill saying and soar to the top of the North and take on.
You say I'm the antagonist on this show?
Hey, I'm retired from wrestling, so I have to have.
I'll follow that up, though. The reason why he doesn't is because he lost this guy right here. David Montgomery. It was the biggest mistake they ever made, right, Cuervo? Mm-hmm. No, I'm definitely joking, but listen, that turned out to be a very good pickup in reality for the Lions, going into this portion of it. That, Lions, they needed something. They had Jared Goff and everything else. You out of here, Trey?
Yep.
All right, you be good. Good to see you, my friend. We'll check you later. We're gonna roll a little bit over. Yeah, we're gonna roll a little bit over. Stay as long as people can stay. But the Lions, I think what needs to happen, as far as where the Packers and what's going on, I worry about the Lions getting all the platitudes and stuff like this. But when you look at the pass defense for this football team, you can't be this. And that is this stat right here is the reason why I have the Green Bay Packers winning this division, because the Lions they can't stop anything if you got somebody throwing the football. And look at and when you're looking at the schedule, they got some teams that can throw the football in reality. So the Lions have got to improve up on that defensive side of the ball. Did they? But so I'm gonna ask the only Cuervo. Did they do enough on the defensive side? in order to maybe win this division?
Well, they did some things that you won't see, in the those little graphics that additions to because they did it through the draft.
Right.
You saw it right there. The pass defense was one of the worst in the league. So what do? They use their first round pick and they go and they draft Terrion Arnold from I think Alabama. He went to Alabama. He's a Bama guy.
Yep.
So they go in there. They get them a corner that they felt that they needed. They added more to the pass rush. They add Marcus Davenport opposite Hutchinson. They got Brian Branch, who was a rookie last year. I think he's going to be a stud this year. Just don't do it against the Bears. I think that they're going to, have who else did they add? Yeah, I mean, even though they lost some guys, I think they did more to improve their roster than Green Bay did to improve their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay adding Jacobs, and that's a big deal. He's solid running back when he's healthy, and I think they got a difference maker at safety in Xavier McKinney from the Giants. So, those are guys that are gonna make an impact on that team. I just think Detroit, even though they won the division and they made it to the NFC Championship game, they felt that it wasn't enough. They didn't want to stand pat with what they had, as far as their roster, and they went out and they made a lot of moves. So that's why I got Detroit winning. I just think they did more to improve their situation than Green Bay did to improve their situation. I mean, DJ Reader, that's another guy. You're talking the top interior lineman in the league. They went out and grabbed him. So they made some moves. They did. They made some moves to make what was already a good roster even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, one of the things I was looking at, you can be the Lions and have all the hype, but if this guy doesn't come in and do what he needs to do to maybe get a little bit more wins up on it, and this guy's got to be good. Listen, he was great last year. There is no
Sonny,
question.
We can say that about all 32 teams. We can say that about all 32 teams.
Well, that's true, but especially here, because of what the Lions did last year, what the expectations are, that expectation's got to fall up on his guy's shoulder. Listen, I say this all the time. If you're going to be a good quarterback, you need to throw consistently for 250 yards each game on average. This guy did it last year in 2023. His interceptions have gone down. His quarterback rating needs to be a little bit better. But I worry about the fact that they can emulate what they did from last year, Bryce. And that is my worry about the Lions, on the consistent level of being good year in and year out. Go ahead there, Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, look, I give Dan Campbell a lot of credit. When he first came in, I said, "Oh, Lord."
You called him a clown. I remember we were talking about it.
And you know what? That press conference was clownish.
Yeah.
Biting kneecaps and all that. But listen, I will give credit where credit is due. I thought Dan Campbell was going to be out of here. He has proven me a liar. He's come in there. He's galvanized that team. He's put his stamp on it, his personality. The personality of the team actually matches the city. Dan Campbell played in that city, and it ended up being a really good choice. And, not to say he is not without his flaws. I think, his game management in that NFC Championship cost him that game.
Yes.
Now, the players didn't make plays. They dropped passes. Things were there, but I don't think he put his team in the best positions with his game management decisions. Take a couple field goals there, play the field position. I think they win that game and go to the
probably, yeah.
When you look at Detroit, the team is built. In a way. You know what? It's funny. The team actually reminds me of the Knicks. Terrible for so long, but the Knicks have built a team around their coach, Tom Thibodeau, that matches his personality and matches the way that they want to play to bring consistency throughout the roster throughout the season to where they lose someone can step up. So, I like what they've done, like the DJ Reader signing. I think, to your point, Cuervo, is a good signing. He matches the way they want to play football, the way they want to be physical. I just think when I look at the team, there are some core positions that, they've played this kind of next man up kind of style that fits their coach and no ego type of thing. But now that they're not sneaking up on anyone, I think some of these positions, like a linebacker, they need to upgrade. There needs to be somebody there that actually puts fear into the offense. And I think they're a little thin there. And those type of things and those type of situations positionally put them in a space where I think there's going to be a little bit of a drop back. Jared Goff has been really good. I respect him. But I just don't really. I'm like in the battle of the quarterbacks, I think Jordan Love has more sizzle to him and can make more plays to win. So I think when it comes down to, it's going to come down to a couple games, particularly those Lions-Packers games. They're going to be battles. I just give a slight edge to Green Bay. So I'm going to put Detroit number 2. And I actually have to get out of here myself, guys.
All right, Bryce. Good to see you. Appreciate your time. We'll catch you next week when we talk NFC East. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Be here, man.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'll be ready. I won't be missing that. I gotta hear what the Podfather and Dollar Bill are bringing to that show.
Definitely. So we'll check you next week. Always good to see you up on the Couch Potato Sports Show, the best smile in the internet. But I want to, before we move a little bit further, we got to remember about this football team as far as the Lions are concerned. They got the guy. Look at that. That's 1,500 yards. I mean, I don't remember the stats very well off the top of my head, but something tells me I don't think Calvin Johnson was getting these kind of yards. He wasn't getting the big. He'd get the 1,000, maybe 1,200, but 1,500, 10 touchdowns. This guy, as far as Jared Goff is concerned, knows who he wants. He wants to get the ball into his playmaker's hand. But this right here, and I joked about it a little bit, Cuervo, it's all about this. You're going to have to start this. You're going to have to get this running game working so you can get the St. John's or the St. Browns doing what they're doing. And, with your starters, I love Jamison Williams. I think this is going to be a year you're going to see that guy step up. But more in the fact that you can have guys step up, but still not be able to do what you got to do. This Lions defense is going to be the Achilles heel of this football team as far as maybe not making it to win the division or maybe even coming in second. So just to kind of give you an idea, I've got the Lions in second place within this division. I got the Green Bay Packers winning this division. Dollar Bill, is that where you have them? I mean, we kind of went over it, but to solidify your picks based upon so it looks like you had the Lions in second place and Green Bay in third. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And then I'll shoot it over to Cuervo. As far as Green Bay, you had Green Bay in a second and the Lions win in this division, correct?
Lions are going to win, yeah.
Very good. And then, of course, that what makes me really angry about that is that me and Trey have Green Bay and the Lions. It's like a perfect thing. So it just kind of sucks that way. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. We've got it covered. We got it. We got one more division to cover, which is always the, interesting division of football. Can that division be good? I don't know. Can Dak Prescott, will he be the $60 million man? I don't know. Will the Washington Commanders come out of nowhere? Oh, and just up on top of that, the biggest question within this division, and I'll leave you to think about it, isn't the biggest thing about this division are we going to see Jalen Hurts from 2 years ago or last year? I think that's the biggest question that we got going into the NFC East in reality when we check it out, because really, I kind of got an idea what I think is going to happen, and I think I'm going to be right. But we'll cover that next week. So before we get out of here, Cuervo, any last things that you want to cover before we hit it and get to next week?
Yeah, so it's going to be a full house next week.
Yes.
I've already talked to Greg. He wants to join.
Okay.
Of course. He's a resident. He's an Eagles fan.
Yes.
So he's got something to say. Yeah,
Eagles, that should be fun.
It's going to be a packed show next week, Dollar Bill. He's a guy that I served with in the military, so we go back and forth. We talk a lot of football.
You served in the military, Cuervo?
I did 20 years, yes, sir.
20 years. He's retired.
I was a jarhead.
Okay, Marine. I served 6 years in the Army.
So, okay. Well, thank you for your service, man. I
definitely. And I didn't even know that about Dollar Bill. I didn't even know that. So
I had a fan because Dollar Bill, he's a sharp dude. I was like, he's got to have he's got some sort of structure in his life. Of course, Army. So there you go.
There you go.
So Greg will be on with us next week. But as far as the NFC North, I think I'm going to slap the table on something, Sonny. I'm going to predict that we are going to have both the offensive and defensive rookies of the year coming out of this division.
Wow. That is wow. But you don't know who they're going to be.
Oh, I do know who they're going to be.
Well, enlighten us. With your wealth of knowledge, enlighten us.
So I think it's pretty obvious who I'm picking for offensive, right?
Right.
But it just depends on health and all that good stuff. I think Caleb will get it done. But defensively, I like Dallas Turner from the Minnesota Vikings. I think he could win Defensive Rookie of the Year because of how much Brian Flores likes to blitz. I think Turner's going to be involved a lot with that. I think that's going to get him a lot of tackles for loss and pressures and sacks and things like that. And I think that's going to really catapult him to being one of the up and coming pass rushers in the game. So I like Dallas Turner as a Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Very good. Dollar Bill, any last parting shots before we get out of here?
I will add one thing to reiterate my point of why I think the Bears will finish from worst to first. That's for you, Cuervo. So, as we already know, last season, the Bears' defense, they weren't necessarily all that great. However, they still did manage to finish top 12 in total defense. While their division mates, the Vikings, Packers, and the Lions all finished beneath them, 16, 17, and 19. This is with the Bears having the 27th ranked passing offense. We know that they struggle to move the ball. We know that they struggle with turnovers. We already know. With Caleb Williams, with all those offensive weapons that they've added, they won't be finishing 27th in passing offense. They won't be finishing in the bottoms of the category and in most of the offensive category stats. So I think with that being said, the Bears defense will have more time for rest, less time on the field, more time to watch Caleb Williams and those guys doing their thing. So with that reason, I think that'll just help reiterate the facts that the Bears will be finishing from worst to first this season.
Let's go.
What did Tom McManus always say, Cuervo? It's all starts on the line. You know, and it's right there. You're looking at this. This is a good defensive line that is set and ready to go for the Bears. So
number one in rush defense last season as well.
So good, and another point up on top of it. So
yeah.
That being said, that's going to do it for us. And Dollar Bill, don't go offline. I'm going to pull you out. I need to talk to you before you go because I got a question for you. And I know it's going to be good. So don't go anywhere. Cuervo, always good to see you. 9 o'clock, good start time for next week. It looks like we're at our regular time slot now, right?
Yeah. This is going to be the slot for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. Sounds good. Go ahead.
Wish me luck today, guys. I got a fantasy draft today. One of my coworkers, he invited me to his league.
What's your number one? Where are you? What's your pick number?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Got it. All right.
All
if you had the number one pick, who are you taking?
Caleb
Williams.
Williams.
based on his settings. What?
Caleb Williams.
Not a bad pick.
Not
a bad pick.
Caleb.
What?
Bryce had
Yeah,
something to say about that, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, with the type of league that he's got, I mean, how can you not take Christian McCaffrey number one?
Absolutely. Well, okay, so I get exactly what's going on there. It must be a receiver high league then, right? Yeah, more points on.
So actually, no, it's non PPR. For those who don't know, that means points per reception is no PPR.
Okay.
But I noticed some things about his settings, so I have a draft strategy that I'm going to use. I don't want to say it out loud, but I think I got it, and I can at least make a deep run in the playoff. I might not win it, but I'll make a deep run.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show, Dollar Hangout. And we will check everybody next week, 9 a.m. It's the NFC East. I saved a lot of time for it because there's a lot to talk about within this division. That's going to do it for us. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday.